Hi everyone, I think we are live. Hi everyone, I think we are live. Can anybody confirm? This is Lokesh from the Soul Freedom Show, and welcome everyone. Welcome Charlie. How's it going?
Good, good, good.
Amazing. So glad to have you. And if someone on the chat can confirm that we are live, uh, Charlie, such an honor to have you on the Soul Freedom Show. I know you're a busy man, lots going on. I know you had a stream today morning. I was listening to it. So much exciting stuff going on. And yeah, I think we're live. Yeah, we're live. So yeah, Charlie, why don't you tell us a little bit just how your day is going? Because I know we're just living in the moment right now, so much going on. How's your day going?
Colleen was away for a couple of days. She is trying to do that on a consistent basis because we have a beautiful grandson, and he just lives a little ways up from us, about half an hour, 40 minutes away from us in Cuernavaca. And little Dante, so beautiful and special. But when she goes away, it's just me with 45 animals and everything else. And they're challenging days, that's for sure. Yesterday, I literally didn't have a chance to eat anything until it was getting dark, and I just finished sort of the last bit of things, started to cook the dogs second meal of the day for the following morning. And then I just decided that I would make something for like a dinner. So no
Yeah,
time to eat, no time for anything, because there's just so many responsibilities. So that's
yeah,
kind of what it's like.
I know. When you said cook the dogs, got me thinking for a second. I was like, why are you cooking the dog? Especially
Well,
now. Yeah,
yeah, with our animals, our dogs,
yeah.
they have a vegan diet.
Oh,
So the basis, Colleen does her portion of it, which is
mm,
that she takes in our Vitamix juicer. She takes fresh raw fruits and vegetables and creates an incredible puree for them.
mhm,
And then she also does black beans, and she cooks those like a day before, and then she makes a puree out of the black beans as well. And then I do rice and lentils and wheat and soy, so much of it all just freshly grown here.
mm.
Um, and then the fruit pulp from the juicing that I do. And so we mix all of that together, and it's incredible. So yeah, they're very healthy, very very happy, and not going anywhere near what we refer to as death kibble.
How do you spell that? What did you say?
Oh well, just
Dectable, you said?
no, I said death kibble. The little pellets of food that
Oh, dog seed.
traditionally they sell for dog food. But the story behind those little pellets is pretty horrific. So yeah, they're very healthy, very happy with food. It's a lot of work for us, but boy, you sure see it with everything in them. You really really do see it. So healthy coat, healthy eyes, so much energy. So
Wow. You have 27 dogs, right? If I'm correct.
24 dogs, 17 cats, and in total with everything right now, 45 animals.
Animals.
So
Wow. Amazing. Yeah. Do you remember all the names? It's a tricky
yeah,
question.
absolutely. You have to, and of course I do, because I use it. I use their names a
Really? Are you
gajillion times every
really?
day. Oh
You
yeah.
remember each and every all the 45
Oh yeah.
dogs?
Oh, of course. Yeah.
Wow.
Well, we interact with the animals very powerfully. So they essentially live with us. The horses are next door, but that's all. So
Nice. Wow. And you're in Mexico. So I wanted to ask you how your journey started. I know you were in Canada, but why don't you just tell us a little bit about how you got to Mexico? or Mexico, right?
Mexico,
Right. Yeah.
yeah. Well, it really, long story short, is that a while back, Colleen and I just realized that we could not continue on any further participating in this ridiculous system of sort of,
Capitalism stuff.
Western
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
capitalism. That's right, exploitation and
Mm-hmm.
whatnot. And both of us were having to work so much. We were, and we just wanted to spend all of our time together.
Mm-hmm.
That was the challenge. So what we basically decided is that we were going to take a massive leap of faith and trust that that everything would work out, because we really wanted to do this. So we sold most everything and put together a little caravan and
Yeah.
our little troop. And we brought all of our existing animals from Canada with us down, and whatever things that we wanted to keep. And then we did it. We came here. We've been in Mexico this is our 11th year now.
Mm-hmm.
And it has just been an amazing journey. And it's, boy, is it ever just testament to trusting, putting your hands in your total faith. It isn't if you have doubt, I don't think it necessarily works. But when it's going to work, when you really trust in the Creator and in God's plan for each and all of us,
Right.
it really does work, and it's a really magical kind of thing. So
Mm-hmm.
hey guys, so yeah, it's
Yeah.
been a heck of a journey, but it's been a great one, and it's been magical. So
How far are you away from like the city or the civilization, kind of?
the closest little town to us, which is Miacatlan, that's what you'll see in our videos all the time. It says from the location Miacatlan. Miacatlan is about 10 minutes away. We're just out of this little town, and we're just out in the countryside amongst all the fields. So there's sugarcane growing all around us, and soy and corn, of course, Mexico corn.
Yeah.
And then we're about, like I said, about 45 minutes from Cuernavaca, about 2 hours from Mexico City. We're south of Mexico City, and we're about 2.5 hours from Acapulco, Acapulco is south of us. So kind of we're about in the middle between Acapulco and Mexico City.
Wow. So Acapulco reminds me of music, because there's a song. Anyway, I wanted to transition to music. I know you have a musical background. I wanted to find a segue, but Acapulco reminded me of a song. I can't remember, but it rhymes with Acapulco.
Yeah.
But I wanted to ask you how you got into music. I was watching some of your videos, and I'm a big rock fan, especially 60s, 70s, 80s, like the Doors.
Wonderful.
Pink Floyd has been my favorite. The Doors, Led Zeppelin. So I wanted to ask you how you got into music and how you started to decode. I know you decode some of those videos and lyrics. So why don't you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, it's really kind of amazing in my life. Just everything. When Colleen and I look back now, we just see how we have been groomed for what we are doing now. We have literally been groomed for what we're doing our entire lives. And so as a younger man, I really fell in love with reading books and with listening to music. And I got myself a job just for that purpose, to be able to have extra money, to be able to have a nice little sound system, and then to purchase all these records and books. And and I actually preferred that far more than going out with a bunch of friends and stuff. I tried it a few times. I was encouraged through my mom and dad, who thought it's a bit weird I spent so much time to myself, but so I did, and all they wanted to do was drink and throw up. And I thought, I can find better things to do than drink and throw up. So so that, yeah, that's what I do. And then my imagination just ran with me. And then growing up in school, when I was at that age of grade school, because I had good grades, I skipped school a lot and didn't get in trouble for it because my parents supported me very much because I had good grades, and I really didn't like school at all. And every time I would just hop on my bike and I would go downtown in Victoria, British Columbia, Canada. Very beautiful, very beautiful little city.
Mhm.
And I would just go to the bookstores, record stores, sound audio stores, and that was just really my life, going back and forth between all of these things, and it really just continually took me inside of me. And I'm sure that that's what also helped me when I started to read books on various religions and learning about Krishna and Hinduism, and then Buddha and Buddhism, and eventually Zoroaster. And you just sort of see that the key to all of this is going within and meditation.
Right.
I think all of those things were just so important because they help prepare me, groom me to be really good at meditation. And
Right.
if there's anything that I'm really, 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 really good at, is an incredible ability to just drop into the other world, almost at the drop of a hat. So yeah, Colleen is like that too, and it's very magical. We look at our childhood now and we just go, wow, God has been preparing us our whole lives for what we're doing right now. So it's really magical.
I know. Yeah, music is, I mean, it is meditation. That's how, how I got to know what meditation is. What I would do is I would listen to music and close my eyes,
Yeah.
without drugs. I mean, I tried it with the drugs, but it's a different experience with, but I think if it's like really meaningful music and then it connects to you or resonates with you, what I found is if I just close my eyes, it's just like 100 times better.
Yes.
Because what I think what they say is 80 to 90% of our perception is our eyes, and then eyes are also, I think it's hiding the truth in a way, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what were your any role models or people you looked up to while all this was happening, and any role models?
Yeah, like again, the people that I read, and what, it was interesting because I grew up, my mom and dad, wonderful, absolutely wonderful parents, and just beautiful people. But we didn't grow. I didn't grow up with any kind of religious background, so they didn't push anything on us. I think everyone in our house believed in a creator, but what it was or what it was all about really wasn't discussed. We were all just really busy getting on
Mhm.
with our lives and
Yeah.
doing things and that. And so I was always very disconnected from Christianity. And because of all of the reading I did, I was much more in tune with all of these Eastern religions and eventually philosophies, like Taoism and Confucianism, and eventually, even the philosophy of Tai Chi and Qigong. And so a lot of Eastern philosophies. And the thing that was disturbing to me is that any time that I would have contact with Christianity and the concept of Jesus or Jesus Christ, it was usually through people who were just so unbalanced, unsettled. I'm a very calm person. And a lot of these, it just seemed to be very consistent that a lot of these people who were devoutly what I would call literalist Christians were very uptight, very angry, very judgmental. And it seemed to be the very opposite of what the message was trying to say.
Mhm.
So it was actually Christianity that had the littlest interaction with whatsoever, because a lot of what I heard and saw from others kind of repulsed me from that world. But eventually, I read an amazing book that basically theorized that the life and times of Jesus, where he kind of disappears in the pages of the New Testament and
Right.
then reappears, close to the end. Where did he go? Where did he go? And theorized the journeys of one Jeheshua from the Holy Land. And I read it like that because then it was going east and it was going to Tibet, and it was learning about this profound method of going within. And then coming back. And of course, when you look at the earliest teachings of Jesus Christ in the pages of the Bible, you hear very sort of Judaic things coming, so supposedly allegedly coming from the mouth of Jesus, but later, boy, oh boy, you're just hearing Krishna and you're hearing Buddha. I mean, very profoundly, folks. I mean, the same essential allegories that are being taught in all of these books were basically being taught from this enlightened one when he came back from these journeys. And so that really helped me to get back into a more whole and full understanding of Christianity. And then so much of my life I've devoted to trying to understand all of these different religions. So, and then, like you say, music and so for me, growing up, role models, would be literally people like Krishna and Buddha, the people who changed their lives and who lived to service and help others, and then of course the authors that I read, my two, well, I have so many, but J.R.R. Tolkien and C.S. Lewis and their worlds, because for some of you have heard me talk about this many times, but Tolkien and Lewis knew all of this stuff. They absolutely knew all of this stuff, and their writings are absolutely complete allegories to the same very things, concepts that are being taught at the heart of the Bhagavad Gita, of the Quran, of the Bible, of the Buddha Sutras, all of these, the Vedas, the Upanishads, the heart, the essence, and those messages is the heart and the essence of Middle Earth. So it really is. And so I began to make these connections in these writings between, and it's like, wow. And then everything's just wow. And you just start to piece all these connections together and stuff. So, and then, very much the bands or the artists that I listen to in music,
You talk about Alan Parsons Project a lot, right?
Yeah, Steely Dan, Alan Parsons, those are really two good examples. And let me just quickly explain why, because neither band really toured. Steely Dan did, I think, for the first couple of years, and then they stopped completely. And Alan Parsons Project never toured until they came back later, and then that was just Alan Parsons. But so the reason is because essentially, like, these two bands were like Gnostic masters. I mean, they were geniuses of this gorgeous world of the deep esoteric of God's creation, and they worked it so beautifully into their music. And that's all they wanted to do. They wanted to create an album as close to perfection as they could, and then get back to the next project. And that's the thing that's also really incredible about everyone that we've ever encountered that is deeply connected via meditation to God. You never run out of things to talk about, never run out of things to write about. I'll never, as I start this process now of writing a whole bunch more books, I'll never run out of topics or subjects or material to write about, because when you connect to this deep gnosis of God's creation, it's endless, and every aspect of it is so brilliant that you become so passionate about the process. So that's one of the really great things about Colleen and I doing the work and putting oil in our lamp, is that we want to live for a long time, and what we're working towards literally is living for forever, because there's just there's a never-ending amount of things that I want to study, that I would love to write about and to teach and help others with. So yeah, it's incredible. It's
Yeah.
incredible.
You had a couple of questions. So you mentioned enlightenment. So there's a lot of misconception, at least in my mind, that, when people say I woke up, like people just say, so I wanted to ask you, people, it's funny, like people say, oh, I know 9/11 was an insider job. I woke up, like I knew
Yeah.
So waking up is such a loose, just like God, or there's like loaded terms. So I wanted to ask you, was there a switch that happened for you when you thought in your mind that I'm woke, or was it like a gradual? I mean, obviously it was a gradual process, but when you decided to go public and talk about it, like, was it like something really happened in your life that changed it for you?
9/11 is a big deal, because when 9/11 occurred, I think I was already there on the higher gnosis, higher understanding realm. But in terms of just how evil this group that we are literally fighting against that was a real eye opener. And then my ability to be able to decode sacred numerology and symbology, because of all of the reading that I'd done, really helped to have me see further. And then what I was able to do is piece together that what they were doing is that they use God's creation. They use all of these beautiful numbers and beautiful symbols, and then they use them for evil purposes. And the thing that's incredible, I perhaps for one of the biggest, most positive consequences of Colleen and I choosing to do this, is this process of trying to take back the truth into the hands of the average individual. Because for years, the so-called truth community had so thoroughly attacked anything in the music industry. So basically, if you talked about any of these bands, they were just all evil. They were just all, and
Right.
It doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way at all.
But that's again, mainstream media does that again, right?
They absolutely do.
Yeah.
And that's right. And a lot of the source material for all these authors that went off on calling out the music industry for being a complete sham came from Dave McGowan's book. And Dave McGowan wrote a book, sort of the we've got a copy of it here, which is the Weird Scenes Inside Laurel Canyon. And it was just, and the interesting thing about Dave is that in his book, Dave really didn't make any large conclusions at all. He explained that he didn't come from a conspiratorial world. He didn't really know what all of this meant, but he just noticed this ridiculous coincidence of so many of these famous 60s artists that were living in Laurel Canyon, and their families all came from some kind of military background. And so it was after that book that an army of people within the truth community took that information, and then they did draw conclusions. And the thing that's disturbing is that their conclusions were just sort of hammering that it's all bad, that it's all evil. And so when we moved to Mexico, one of the projects that I started for myself at the urging of Colleen was to literally write this book series on all of this music that we knew that was goodly and godly, that was teaching the highest. And it wasn't just based solely on the concepts of Western Christianity. It was all deeply based in Hinduism and Buddhism and Zoroastrianism. Just incredible stuff, these bands. And so that's what I set out to do. And in about 7 years, I wrote 150 books on the 150 most important rock albums. Most important because of the quality of the product, but also the significance, the infinite significance, importance of the words. And I've only released 6 of them. So there's 6 that are available for sale.
Right.
The other 144 are written. I would just need the time to go back and to edit them and then put them into a format to publish. And and of course, at some point I will get back to doing, and I'll make all of them available. But the thing that's incredible, and that's why I try to include always 1 or 2 in each of the podcasts, is to show everyone that you just had this army of people that existed in the belly of the beast, which is the music industry, just evil, evil, evil. And yet here you had these beautiful people that had to deeply encode all of these messages about even just things like meditation, having to deeply encode them. So there's a language, there's an entire language around this encoding, and that's what I kind of do through those books. And that's the book, by the way, that I'm writing right now. I'm sequestering myself away to get 2 very important books done. The first one is the hieroglyphics of the English language, the story of our language from A to Z, which is everything. It's holistic. It explains everything. Our language, and it applies to all languages. I'm just going to use the example of English because that's the one I'm most familiar with. And but all of the languages, they are holistic. They tell a story. Every letter, every shape, and its position in relation to the other, it all has deep, deep meaning. And you'll see how I piece it together. It just tells this one incredible story. And it's very empowering because when you read it, you will be able to take back your language and your words, because you will absolutely know what they mean, because you'll know what every single letter and therefore every single word really, really means. So and then the other one is the raising of the chrism oil and achieving everlasting life. So not that
amazing. Yeah, a lot of good stuff coming. Because we were talking about music, I wanted to segue a little bit into Michael Jackson. I wanted to blow people's mind away. You inspired me 2-3 weeks back. I've been watching your videos. You talk about Michael Jackson. So instead of talking about it, let's just, if you don't mind, let's just watch this video. And let me know if, let me just switch to this. So let's see if, let me know if you're able to see my screen. Are you able to see my screen?
Yeah.
All right.
Michael Jackson is another person totally with the mask.
I don't know how we expect to go to the movies, but you know what I'm saying? Like, this is Michael Jackson. Like, how the hell are we gonna actually go to the movies? So you grab the kids. They looking normal. Mike comes out. He has his disguise on, So I starts laughing because I didn't even recognize him, Sometimes I forget that he's supposed to be in his disguise, And I keep calling him Mike. So now when I realized she was peeping, then I started calling him Dave. Dave.
Hello all, this is Dave. How are you? Our world has come to an interesting point in an interesting time. This is a very interesting project we're working on. I want to thank each and every one of you for your overwhelming support. May God bless you. I love you. Good night.
Thank you very much for all of your support, and may God bless you all. I love you. Goodbye.
I believe that I lost a person in my life, but at the same time, I gained a lot of knowledge and a lot of experience. To his Encino house.
I think I was at the Encino house.
To his Encino house.
I think I was at the Encino house.
To his Encino house.
I think I was at the Encino house.
Encino house.
The Encino house.
All right. Think so I wanted to segue into that was fun. There's always something that blows, YouTube, and there's so much stuff, but also because of people like you, a lot of people may not know what's really going on behind the scenes. But I wanted to segue into Atlantis and JFK Jr. and Michael Jackson and Prince. So I know, so a lot of people, listeners probably are aware of the QAnon movement, and Trump is part of that. And so some people do know JFK Jr. is alive, but people don't know who is he, why is he not coming? So I wanted to get your opinion on who is, or where is he, and what is Atlantis, where all these people are going?
Okay, well, all of this kind of relates to Ayn Rand. Ayn Rand is, she was born in Russia, and her father, who is, quite a capitalist, just a very independent person, and just their family had the belief that if you worked hard, did well, you would prosper. And of course, that was the message that was being emanated across the earth about America. And that's why so many people wanted to emigrate to America, because all they were asking for is a fair chance. A lot of these countries, the old country where they came from, is all so much more established. And so people had their positions, and you were not allowed to raise out of your position. But the perception was, anyways, in America, that there was a chance to be anything you wanted to be. It was the land of opportunity. And so Ayn Rand came to America. She actually, very tough times when she came. So she ended up taking a job actually in Hollywood, assisting in a studio's office, and got her to thinking, and it got her to writing. And very quickly, folks, the two of her books, which Atlas Shrugged is the one that we're going to talk about here. They're just two of the greatest novels that have ever been written. And Atlas Shrugged, which she wrote as a trilogy, is just a stunning masterpiece. It's a master stroke for any author, including even herself. And so in Atlas Shrugged, she creates this character known as John Galt. And so throughout the book, everyone's always asking, who's John Galt? Who's John Galt? And as the story is written, she slowly begins to reveal sort of the back, that this is a real person and what this character was all about. So essentially, really, really quickly, John Galt is an individual, a very strong-willed individual, and he, using Tesla-esque energies, or just an approach to the world of energy, so including magnetism in it, was able to create a new motor for the world. And he wanted to destroy the old motor for the world, to destroy the way that things were done. And the world was not ready for his invention. The world was not ready for his ideas. So he just up and disappeared, just left.
Is that around the same time when Donald Trump's uncle also knew? Yeah. Tesla, right? Yeah.
There are so many parallels of what was going on in the world as well.
Right.
And so, yeah, so the character John Galt disappears, creates a community hidden away, known as Atlantis, of all names. And basically what he did is he approached all of these brilliant people who were goodly, godly, and having their incredible ideas, incredible creations usurped by an ever-growing state that always took power for themselves in the name of the greater good, the greater good. Beware when somebody ever says to you, the greater good. Because the moment that you take away the concept of the individual, then freedom, free will, no longer exists. There is no such thing as freedom if there's not the individual. So some people see Ayn Rand's writings as and especially in the book that preceded Atlas Shrugged, which was The Fountainhead, and these two are just two of the greatest books ever written.
There's a documentary too, right, for that one, or a movie?
Yeah, that's right. Incredible. Yeah. Both of the movies that were done were just really well done, which is great. And so the whole idea is, and some people kind of took offense, didn't really like Ayn Rand because they saw her as very, very selfish. But that is the opposite of Ayn Rand and what she was really saying. Ayn Rand is essentially saying you cannot force, you should never and will not lead to goodly godliness when you force someone to help others or force people to be kind. Allow people the freedom to be themselves, allow them the freedom to create freely of their minds, and then watch what happens. And that their gift is the true essence, the true flowing of their beautiful creations, and how it helps, how it benefits everybody else. And then that would be the gift. But what she found, of course, is that when she came to America, is that this wasn't free market capitalism, wasn't free enterprise. It was crony capitalism. And that and this is brilliant on her part, what she realized and talked about is that she recognized in people like the Rothschilds and the Rockefellers is that they weren't smart men, and they weren't great businessmen. They succeeded because they were thugs, and then they used their existing power and influence to force and create more power and more influence. And then our entire structure of capitalism till just now, and Trump's taking it all apart, all of this is crony capitalism. And what that means, very quickly, everyone, is that behind the scenes, quietly, all of the biggest tax breaks, all of the biggest loopholes exist to protect the wealthiest people in the world, so that they end up don't having to pay any taxes, that they get the biggest kickbacks from taxpayers' money to them. And the first person that brought this to attention was John F. Kennedy. He became president, and he began to call out this insanity where the wealthiest people in the world who were doing business in America were getting all of this free money from American taxpayers. And we know what happened to John Kennedy. So this is what she was writing about. And so the character of John Galt, John Galt brilliant people away. And that's taking them away with him to Atlantis until the world was ready for this great shift, this great change. And so it has been our assertion, Colleen and I, very powerfully, that Michael Jackson, Princess Diana, And if you have a princess, well, you have to have a prince.
Yeah, there's
So-
duality. We live in a world of duality. So
That's right. So therefore, Prince,
yeah,
and there's a host of others. Now, in terms of anyone telling us things, in terms of Michael Jackson, we received a cryptic, what I would say is a thumbs up on Michael Jackson in code, but nobody's told us anything that.
yeah,
This is so we're putting our necks out on the line here a little bit by doing this, but I know that it's absolutely, because I've deeply meditated on all of this, and I know that this is absolutely so. And the thing that's so uplifting about this, Lakesh, is that we despair so often because the cabal has had so much power, and isn't it nice to feel like that they didn't get Michael, that they didn't get Lady Di, that they didn't get Prince, and that these people have been working behind the scenes to help bring down these very people, to help nurse back to health the very children that they've been feeding off of.
Yeah.
And then, and to help all of us adjust into this, the new world that's coming, and it is.
Yeah, that reminds me of Shambhala. In Buddhism, they talk about Shambhala, and what they say, some people say it's a fifth dimensional, or I don't know. Yeah. So it reminds me, Atlantis looks like, it may be a physical 3D place, but it might be 5D. And when we go to 5D, we'll experience that. But do you believe in this kind of like dimensions ascension process, or?
I understand how and why people go there, and there's lots of people that I like and respect very much that have made their whole lives and careers based off of this. I believe in the here and the now, and the fact of the matter is that's where we exist, and the whole nature of the samsara, where we just keep coming back, shows us that ever achieving that pure singularity with God again will never happen. We fell out of singularity into this duality. And so the best that we can do now, and I think it actually makes it better in the long run, is that what we need to do now is unify the singularity of God in heaven, absolute perfection, and the chaos of the lower fallen dualistic world, and bring them together in alignment. And when you begin to really examine the scriptures of Krishna, of Buddha, of Zoroaster, Confucius and Taoism and Tai Chi, they're all teaching the same message, and that is this middle plane. And that what's so important is that when we ascend ourselves, when we truly do conquer the left brain ego, when we slay the dragon and we ascend ourselves up and to the right, it's not to stay there up and to the right, looking down with disdain upon the masses who will never get it. It's that we must come back as these bodhisattvas to the middle plane, which is the fourth of 7 chakras, the heart chakra, the green flat plane. And then we must patiently teach this message back. And that is our payback, penance to God for helping us in this sacred journey, sacred process to achieve true enlightenment. You were saying that, referring to that earlier. A lot of people like to say, I awoke. I'm awakened. And of course they're not. It's a beginning, and I don't want to discount that. But for example, like if you're participating in the meat, dairy, and egg industry, you're not awoke at all. You are fast asleep. No matter how much you have risen, you're still below the starting line. You were just way down here, and you've got yourself a little higher. But if you're participating in this system, if you are foolish enough to think that health comes from forced breeding, torture, murder, and then eating dead, rotting flesh to bring health and life, you're You're not even
Yeah,
close.
it's you talk about common sense, and I think about it too. It's just common sense, and vegetarianism, or not eating dead animals, is so much common sense that people, I think the challenge people face is we are so far away from the process, and not just from how vegetables are grown, but
Yeah.
how animals are killed.
Yeah.
We don't even know. And the other thing is, Hollywood has also desensitized us to looking at the action. We watch people killing each other, like, yeah, it's fun. So those two things, I think, because we're not close to the people killing the animals, and we are watching this Hollywood movies, mostly like action movies, and people like, yeah, it's just an animal. But I think that's why, I'm going to tie it up to Trump when he talks about the China. Like, it used to trigger me when he used to call it China virus instead of coronavirus. And I'm like, why is he calling? I think I asked you too a couple of weeks
Yeah.
back. So I think what he's doing is he's triggering people, just like, like, let's say I call meat, dead animals meat, it doesn't trigger people. But if I call meat dead animal, it just hits them right on the, so that's what I decided a couple of hours. I'm like, I'm not going to call meat meat. I'm going to call it, oh, are you eating dead animals? So it's just because words have so much power, and I think Trump is good at it. Uh, but I still don't fully get it why. I mean, I don't want to segue too much, but vegetarianism is definitely something I'm passionate about. It's just that we are so brainwashed and so far away from the nature and vegetables, growing stuff. I want to also segue into Trump's decoding Trump, right? So like the China virus thing, he triggers me at least. I don't know how many. Also, this media. I mean, people talking about that he's being a racist. What do you feel about Trump? As in, why does he like to trigger people, especially around the virus thing?
Let me just take one little step backwards, and
Yeah.
then it'll also help with regard to why Trump does those kinds of things. But basically, you were talking about common sense and the lost art of common sense, and that's all because common sense, just like love, just like the ability to fantasize, dream, be really creative, it all exists here in the right hemisphere of the brain, which is 90% of the brain's capacity. The dime brain has a great value, but it's very, very limited, and because it's facts, figures, and logic. And when you allow that phallic symbol to rule over the vaginal symbol of the right brain, then that's the world that you absolutely get. You absolutely get the exact world that we're living in, is because we allow a select group of people who want to. They know all of this. Believe me, they know all of this stuff. They are choosing to live in their left brain. They're choosing to die, and they're choosing to reincarnate back into these evil families by doing evil acts. They're not looking for everlasting life, because that to achieve that, you have to go to God, and they're the antithesis to God. They're the very, very opposite of God. So that these demons, this is Satanism. They are Satanists. They define Satanism because that's the opposite of goodly, godly. So I want everyone to remember that. So when you struggle hearing some of the things that I teach, and let's face it, Charlie Freak gives you no quarter, does he? I challenge all of the lies, and I don't hold anything back. So it's not just that. I'm teaching some of the hardest things for people to hear, because they're the truth. And it's not the truth, and anyone can be wrong and stuff. And well, yeah, if it were me, I could be wrong all the time. I would be wrong.
Because people could make up. They could just say eating animals is common sense. Two people can make up anything, right?
Yeah.
Because proteins, the biggest excuse, even the medical profession has been lying to. I mean,
Yes.
they've been saying you need protein, but like you said, we already our bodies can create protein. It's just, they just brainwash you, right?
It's absolutely true.
Yeah.
So the whole point to this is that we've lost common sense by being in the left brain, because that's everything they do. They turned our parents into left brainers. School is left brain. TV and the movies is left brain, and then everything. Our jobs are all meaningless, repetition-based left brain jobs. Everything teaches us to stay as victims of the left brain, and then we're controlled by our own ego. They don't have to control us. Our ego does the rest for them. So what I wanted to share with everyone before I move to Donald Trump is this. These people who have created the wholeness of organized society, that's my term, what I use to describe what we live in. And it's true, it's an organized society that we're all forced to live in for the greater good. These are the people that are eating our children as a basis to life. And then they kind of trick, they don't tell all the truth behind what really needs to take place for long life. To their minions, so they get the Clintons of the world eating babies as well. And because they don't do it right, they eat more and more and more, and then it just becomes horrific. And then Hillary Clinton shaking all the time and stuff like that. That's because when you go through this process without the proper protocols, you run your body short of absolutely, basically, covfefe, a little code of Donald Trump.
I know, yeah.
And you run yourself short of these very, very essential elements and minerals within you. And then you just can't even begin to function, begin to shake. You have these seizures and outbreaks and whatnot because of what they're doing to their body. And it's payback for the evil that they're doing. So these are the people that we're getting everything from. They're the ones that, listen to me for a sec, because there's no place for you to run. They're the people that create our educational system. Everything about how schools look, when it starts, how many days we have to go, every single aspect about what it is that we learn and don't learn comes from these people. They are the same people that determine Western medicine, Western dentistry. Western medicine and dentistry are the most medieval torture chambers you could possibly imagine. We're so backwards. We're completely backwards. And these are the people that designed it for us. Our food, they have determined for us what we should be eating for our food. So what I want you to just listen to that, wrap your head around all of that, and know that they're the ones who are telling you what is normal and what is good. You can't argue with that. They're the ones, the people who are in charge of this system to the umpteenth degree. They're the ones that have told us what's good for us. No, scientists. No, them. Because as soon as you have capitalism with these poor scientists that research and never think about money, they're just so passionate about their research. They can only feed their families if they get paid. You only get paid in research if you're researching the things that they want you to research.
It's like they've already built up the whole thing, and you want you to follow that. Like it's, that's what television is for, and the schooling, like you said. That's why I wanted to segue just a little bit into the COVID-19 thing. Like, that I feel, last few weeks I've been thinking it's such a blessing in disguise that this thing happened. I mean, I don't want to say that people who are suffering, it's a good thing, but the society shutting down, people staying at home, kids not going to school is such a, like you said, school is like so criminal. They just teach you stuff that doesn't even exist. They just make up. Going to office 5 days a week, 40 hours a week. 40 hours. It doesn't make sense. The traffic, driving, you're getting stressed out, and people flying so much. All that has come to a stop. And that's why this year, I think the virus, let me call it China virus. I'm not going to call it China virus. It's kind of triggering people so much that, we were talking about waking up, people are waking up. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but I just wanted to say that, how this year it's all tying all these things together, right?
Yeah, no, it's excellent point. So what I wanted to just tie all of that together with is this. So these are the people that are telling you that to grow big, strong, and healthy, you need meat, dairy, and eggs. Okay,
Right.
we're frugivores. Now you cannot argue with that. We are 100% inside and outside frugivores. Just look it up for yourself. Just do your own research on. There are 4 principal types of food eaters, and that those that exist off of food. So again, there are frugivores, there are omnivores, there are herbivores, and there are carnivores.
And
okay?
there's breatharians who don't eat food at all, right?
Well, exactly.
Yeah.
Those that choose to partake in the
Yeah.
consumption of solidity.
Or prana, they just have prana, right? Yeah.
Exactly. Well, exactly. And that's where we all need to get to. That's part of some of what is coming, is this prana level consciousness, and we're handing that kind of gift into the hands of people that are just so happy to continue eating animals. So it doesn't mix. It doesn't mix. And that, that these higher truths and powers are dangerous in the hands of those that think it's just hunky-dory to kill and eat animals. So, but what I wanted to just let me just complete this concept to you, this image. These are the ones that are eating our children.
Oh,
okay?
I see.
And
okay,
then,
because they've been programmed already, right?
Well, it's their idea, and then they force their minions to eat our children for different reasons, but they do. So you have this entire ruling mechanism that exists where they're almost everything that they do is to cause calamity and disruption so that kids can be separated from their parents, so they can steal kids. There have been, since World War II, completion of World War II, there's over 1 billion kids that have gone missing and have all been murdered, and for these nefarious purposes. We've all allowed it to happen because we go along with their system. We know so much of it is wrong, but we just continue to go along with it. We miss all the bigger things that are going wrong. So when Charlie Freak comes along and tells you that you absolutely cannot ascend, you cannot really go anywhere until you stop this eating, this murder, supported murder, and then the consumption of meat, dairy, and eggs, who are you going to believe? Me? Right. And I'm telling you to do your own research that we're frugivores 100% inside and out, or are you going to believe those who exist by eating our children? That's the whole thing. As I go through and have the courage to bring up these toughest, hardest subjects in front of each and every one of you and tell you that they're lying about everything, including a space out there, when aliens and infinite space do exist, but it exists, of course, within you. It has to. Think about this. Why would God create the ability to travel through space, but only in a fashion that costs $1 billion for one rocket or one machine to be able to do so?
Yeah.
And so that only a few people or a few countries can even afford to do this. And then even if you did somehow magically use your own genius and you created some type of smaller rocket that allowed you to get out of the Earth's atmosphere and into space, then they wouldn't allow you, because you'd have to have a permit, or you'd have to take their course, or you'd have to have, they would stop you. They would stop you because, of course, it only exists for the few who can afford. So you see, when people don't think along these lines, then essentially what you're implying, because you refuse to think holistically, is that you're implying that God is a racist, and that God is an elitist. God is all for these rich families and rich people who can get access to money, and screw everybody else. You are the Starship Enterprise. You are Captain Kirk and Captain Jean-Luc Picard. You are a Galaxy-class star cruiser, and you can go anywhere and talk to the Blue Avians or the Palladians or whoever
Right.
you want to go talk to.
And those are just labels, right? Those are just labels, right? We can,
for various levels of consciousness
Right,
that
right.
exist within
Mm.
us. It's all about within. And this is the thing that's so important. Who is responsible for Western? So I apologize for not having the video yet. With Colleen being away, I haven't been able to get it out. Now that Colleen's back, I will have that podcast that I just did about the takedown of organized religion from A to Z.
Mhm.
Brilliant 2-hour show. We set a record on my radio channel. We had, I think, close to 500 people listening live to it, and it's a it was a great show, and it's a very important show. And I'll get that out as soon as possible. But what I was demonstrating through all of this is that everything in our history from the ancients got everything right, and nobody wants to acknowledge that, and nobody, so it's really a hip kind of cool thing, especially with all of these, these new age spiritualists and stuff like that. They love to pass, I'm hip and I'm down with them ancient people, but of course they got space all wrong. They got the shape of the earth all wrong. They got gravity all wrong. They got, eating animals all wrong. They got, modern dentistry all right. They got everything. But they're
because
just so cool. They're so great.
I think the challenge is they change the books and they change the history, so nobody knows.
Exactly. And so what we know of Western religion and Western Christianity has been dominated by one group, which is this Roman Catholic Church. Now that's just code. That's just code. Roman Catholic Church are just the Phoenicians. These are the Canaanites from the Holy Land, who are the murderers, who are cannibals, and they eat our children. So it's just another facade that they wear, another mask that they wear to hide themselves. So, but the Catholic Church is responsible for religion in the Western world, and they're the most evil, lying. Again, the god of the Phoenicians, who are behind all of this, is Baal. Baal. What is Baal? Do your own research. What is Baal noted for? He's a god, but he's the great deceiver. And what is he known for? He's known for turning the truth completely upside down. So he takes the truth and spins it 180 degrees. And so this is the world that we now live in. Exactly the world that we now live in. Once again, who are you going to trust? Crazy Charlie Freak, who exists to serve God's creation, all of God's creation, animals, human beings, and I basically hardly ever even sleep, and I exist to help others, and have done the work to have copious amounts of oil in my lamp to then share all of this for nothing, for completely free with everyone. Or are you going to believe them and their experts on a system that is based in and around the stealing of children, the consumption of children, and that their God is the great deceiver, and everything that he says is a 180-degree lie? Who are you gonna believe in? Who are you gonna trust? Who are you gonna trust?
Yeah, comes back to us, right? There's nobody out there. I used to read this book called A Course in Miracles. And they say there's nobody out there, just you, just one of us. One of us is almost like an oxymoron. That's why we need to meditate over it. Like one of us, what does that mean? So I wanted to segue into Donald Trump, but if you don't mind, I want to play that Bhagavad Gita clip that was like just a couple of minutes. Maybe that's gonna say. I mean, unless you wanted to finish your thought, right?
No, that's perfect time. Let's segue into that clip on the Bhagavad Gita.
All right. Yeah, so this is, and people, thanks a lot, everyone joining. There's about 110 people. We're going to get to your questions soon. Just have some patience. And thank you, Charlie, again. This is amazing. Thank you so much. All right. Just give me a thumbs up if you once I play, you can hear the sound.
So like, could you break down the Bhagavad Gita for the youth? Like, what's in that book? Why do people say that you open any page of it and you'll get your answer? Why do people say things like that?
Sure. I think the first thing to know is let's remove the religion aspect from the Bhagavad Gita totally. Bhagavad Gita is not a religious book. It is a book which gives you the way to live. And the setting for the Bhagavad Gita is the battlefield of Kurukshetra, the Mahabharata, where Arjun's confused, right? And Krishna becomes his mentor and gives him guidance in a way that he can now start doing what is meant to do right. So every young man or lady is going to have confusions. Every young person is going to have those dilemmas, right? To do or not to do, to be or not to be. That's exactly how the Gita begins. It begins with confusion. It begins with dilemmas. It begins with a lack of meaning, right? And then Krishna kind of guides Arjun through and empowers Arjun to make his own choices. Krishna only acts as a facilitator, right? And empowers Arjuna to understand that he is way too more powerful than the people he's going to face in the battle. It's something like the Lion King, right? In the Lion King, you have Simba. But Simba in company with Timon and who's the other fellow?
Timon and Pumbaa.
Pumbaa and Timon, kind of starts identifying himself to be like one of them. And then you have this Rafiki, that's right, Rafiki, coming to remind him and calls for his father, and his father comes and tells him that you are way more powerful than Scar. Correct? So we need, every young man and lady needs to understand that they are way more powerful than what they are going through at the moment. Their confusions are smaller than them. Their challenges are smaller than them. Their problems are smaller than them. Their heartbreaks, as painful as they are, but are still smaller than them. And they have the capacity to overcome them, those pains that they're going through. So I think that's precisely where books like the Gita help a lot, because they build in you that sense of confidence
and strength,
fortitude.
All right. Yeah, I think this so beautifully ties in with what we were talking about, right? That it's us, right? It's us. And I think it also ties in with the QAnon movement and what Trump is doing. He's giving us the power to do things what we want to do. So I will let you continue.
I could go on listening to that for forever because and you should too, and you should know, because inside of you, your essence knows the truth, and your essence knows when you're being lied to, and we are so good at hiding behind masks. That's cognitive dissonance. Ultimately, cognitive dissonance can be thought of as a myriad of masks that protect us from ever facing the truth. What you just heard is the absolute truth of what is. And you see, this is why I do all of the work I do about the music industry and about movies and books, is because there are so many people from either side that are encoding into their artistic creations these highest principles. That's a Lion King, which is a Disney, I mean, evil upon evil upon evil, and they're putting the truth of truths in the story of the Lion King. So he's telling you the truth of, and the thing that Gopal Das talks about that is so absolutely true. None of these ancient scriptures, including the Bible, are religious in any way, shape, fashion, or form. I mean, the passage in the Bible between Jesus Christ and Nicodemus should tell you that as well. The conversation went nowhere, and Jesus says, "And you're a leader of the Hebrew religion, and I have to tell you these things, and you can't even figure out what I'm saying literally, physically. How am I ever going to make any sense to you of the metaphysical if you can't even figure out what I'm saying in the physical realm?" And you're the leader of religion for the Hebrew faith. So this is what we're dealing with. And so the truth is that all of these ancient scriptures are how to live your life. They are. They are. That's why these sayings, when we hear them, they capture us. They do. They stick with us forever. So the parable of Jonah and the whale. Jonah, there's no Jonah, and he didn't fall into a great fish. But it's an amazing story. And I love that story because what it's teaching you is the powerful necessity to go within yourself to that third room. There's your third room right here. You must go within. When Jonah was on the boat in absolute chaos, he was so disconnected from God. He then fell upon the sea into the mouth of this great fish that just happened to be passing by. And in the middle chamber of Solomon's temple is right here. That's Solomon's temple, guaranteed, right there. That's the Ark of the Covenant. And he fell inside the third room for 3 days, and he came out a great believer and teacher of the Gnostic traditions of God's message. And that's what happens when you go within yourself and meditate, and you still your mind, and you do things like proper breathing. It's free. 24/7. You don't need a manual to be able to do it. And it takes back your reality, because when you control your breathing, you control your brain waves. You control your brain waves, you control your thoughts. When you control your thoughts, you control your reality. And so when you do this metaphysically through breath, that's the building block, the first step, and you do that through the physical realm with your food, then you've taken 2 simple, easy steps, and you're now on the path that is straight and narrow. You're now doing the work. You're now putting oil in your lamp. You're now putting genius into the genie of the lantern. Because once again, this is just an Asian tradition, but that's the lantern. The Ark of the Covenant is the genie's lantern, and it's here. It's inside your third ventricle. It's the same story, just told with different names and traditions, because we're all different cultures. It's so beautiful, but we're all telling that one perfect story that you heard spoke so beautifully. And so that's all you have to do, is that the truth is so simple and it is so empowering. And I want to make this point again for all of my beautiful brothers and sisters who are out there and who have invested so much work into meditating, connecting with these higher spiritual councils and different mediums, and who've spent their lives believing in other galaxies and whatnot. It's all real. You are doing those things, but you're doing those things within yourself. I guarantee you, people will say to me all the time, Charlie, honestly, you're just like a breath of fresh air, and honestly, I value your work above all other people's work. I just can't go with you. I think you're a little crazy on this flat earth thing. For all time, we've always known that the earth is flat, stationary, at the center of all things, and that we are protected by and energized, powered by the ether, the magnetic electrical ether. We've always known that. We haven't known it for the last 100 years. So let me go back and say the same thing that I said to all of you 20 minutes ago. You want to believe them, or do you want to believe me? I don't eat babies. I exist to teach, to love, to nurture, to care and protect for our children, for all children, for all beings and all species. They eat them. Which one do you want to believe? Do you want to believe, like I said on a show just the other day, 100 years ago, mankind made a choice to go with the Jesuit lie of Einsteinian physics, and this whole, it's all out there nonsense, which is
they brainwashed us on Einstein, right? Yeah.
And that's why it's only 100 years ago, because the technology to mass print newspapers, magazines, and then radio waves, and then TV waves, and then it's all in the last 100 years. You take that ability away. If we were still without that technology, we're all still basically living on the countryside, we'd all know that the earth was flat, still, and stationary. The only people, the people that believe this nonsense the most are those people who are living in cities. I guarantee you, because if you're on the countryside, your whole world is calm, still, stationary, silent. It's all around you. The pole star doesn't move. Water doesn't stick to a ball. There's density and buoyancy. There's not gravity. Tesla, Nikola Tesla. Everybody loves to talk about Nikola Tesla. I've done the research years, and it's painful because of how much they hid the truth about Tesla. Colleen can tell you how hard I had to work to try to find the actual truth about Nikola Tesla.
Because they hide the patents, right? They hid patents and they hide the patents. And I'm sure Tesla is at Atlantis too. Like, now that we're talking about Atlantis. I wanted to segue just a little bit. A lot of people have been asking about the California fires. If you have any info, I mean, there were people also talking about Australia, but I think you already talked about that in a couple of other podcasts. And your YouTube channel is Freak Sense TV. People can go there. You talked about Australia and stuff, but can you talk about what's going on? Because there's a lot of people saying this something called plasma, something that they're throwing out from the sky. I mean, it could be whatever, what do you call it? Conspiracy theory. I was going to say controversy theory, but it's the same thing.
Yeah.
But do you have any thoughts on the fires happening in California?
No, I don't. I've had no time to look into it, and I haven't asked any questions. I haven't received any messages back about anything. So I have no idea, other than there's a plan in place, and that this plan is leading to just absolutely incredible things. And so to segue just briefly with regard to places like Australia, New Zealand, South Africa, the UK, Ireland, Canada is another great example. Probably 6 of the hardest hit with the most strictest, ridiculous rules. It's because those 6 countries, and I came from Canada, so I can speak to it. I know are people that are good people, are nice people, but stick their heads in the sand when there's sign of controversy or trouble. They'd rather stick their heads in the sand than to do something about it. And we've stuck our heads in the sand for 100 years, and now we are living with the consequences of that decision. So people, why would they do this? And if Trump's a good person, what's happening, all that's happening right now is that they want you to see, because you see, in the future, if they were to tell you that this was the plan, a lot of people might not believe it, because people are so distanced from the truth and distanced from themselves that they would probably disbelieve.
Also, the elections coming up, right? People might think, oh, it's something to do with the elections, right?
Yeah. So exactly, that's right. And that's why the NESARA stuff is going to be after. There's a Christmas present coming for everyone. That I can absolutely guarantee you. There's a Christmas present coming for everyone. But you see, that's after the election. Anything before the election, like Lokesh was just saying, comes across as a crass attempt to win votes. No, this is about good and evil. So any of you out there that cast a vote for Biden and the Democrats, you're casting a vote for evil. And I mean the scourge of scourge, the lowest of lows, the most demon of demons is who you're casting your vote for. You cast your vote for Trump, you're casting a vote for God. You're casting a vote for righteousness, purity, and about our children. That's the difference in this election. It's the most pure example that has probably ever existed.
Something, I'm going to throw it out there, if you don't mind. Like right now, obviously, only U.S. citizens can vote for Trump, but I think we have so much support from outside the U.S. I see a future, I think it's coming, where anybody around the world should be able to vote for whoever is the leading leader or the main leader of the world. I mean, right now it's Trump, and I know you've talked about it. He's the world leader because in 2016, 17, and 18, he went through so many countries, talked to the leaders. They're so much in support of Trump. He's the world leader right now. I mean, anything can change. I mean, I don't want to get into segue, but that's another thing I wanted to ask you. What if something happens to Trump? What happens then? But I don't want to go there. But what I wanted to ask you is like, what if we have a future where people around the world, like, everybody gets affected based on what happens in US. I mean, I don't want to be egoistic. I live in the US. I'm from India. I just became a citizen actually in September last year, believe it or not. Like, yeah, this is my first election. And as soon as just September and January, I started listening to all these things. I actually, you know what? I didn't even care about politics ever. I thought, doesn't matter who you vote for, they're all the same, which is true. Like, doesn't matter who you vote for. But people like Trump, and I'm sure there's leaders around the world like, JFK. And so what I'm trying to get to is like, do you see a future where people around the world can vote for people or elect people who can take care of the world? Because, it's not just about US right now, right?
Yeah. Okay, that's a great question, and maybe let's use this. I'll answer that, and then maybe we can use this as a segue into the questions, because I know that there are so many that are really wanting to get the questions, and I'd like to try to answer as many as we possibly can today. So, but that is a great question, and the future moving forward, which is built in and around NESARA, is so key, because, and the thing that's really important, I did a little podcast on this, and it's really important for people to understand, is this. This is not the gift of any one great man. I think Donald Trump is absolutely a very, very special human being. I think he's a very special individual. I think he's a prototypical type man because of his level of intelligence combined with care and compassion. So, but it's not him that's doing this. All that's happening with NESARA is that it's giving us back what is rightfully ours and taking away which can't exist. So taxes can't exist. I mean, it even goes back to this in the Bible, that the products of your thought and labor are yours and yours alone. They define you. They're your essence. So you can't tax or take away somebody's essence. That is contrary to the very charters of rights and freedoms in Canada and many countries, and the Constitution in the United States. It's completely contrary to those things. So taxes will disappear. The only tax that will exist will be a tax of choice, and that is a point of sale tax to generate revenues. And then those revenues for the first time will actually be spent on the country and services for the country that they were originated in. Because if you think your taxes have been going to help pave the roads, just look at your roads in the United States and there's been no money going to that. So where is it going? It was going to these Phoenicians, this middlemen that Trump has used in his speeches so many times, that there's a hidden, nobody knows much about them, he says, but there's a hidden group, and they're causing the prices. And so all we've done is we've taken out the middleman, and look what happens to the prices. And so again, all these people that think like Trump is that all of this is just fake and stuff, they're not paying attention to all the stuff that he has done already. And it is overwhelming what he has done already. And one of the things that he's done for Americans, will have a massive spin-off effect for everybody else, is their access to their medications. I mean, if they would just change their diet, then the need for any of these things will go away. But in the meantime, by kicking out the middlemen, which are the Phoenicians, these are the Canaanites, by getting rid of them, the prices of all of these things have gone down. They're less. Trump was saying, I'm hoping to get them down to 10% of the cost. They're less than 10% of the cost.
Right.
And it's just, you don't do these things if you're evil, if you've got some evil plan. And remember, the whole thing was these 5G towers.
Right.
The coronavirus was a hoax. COVID-19 is a hoax. but the 5G radio waves, or the signals from the 5G towers that were going to be emitted wirelessly, those were the real killers. And they were tying in to 10, 15 years of chemtrails. Right. And all of the stuff in those chemtrails, such as the smart dust and the heavy metals, were collecting in all of our bodies, some more so than others, but collecting inside of us. The signal from this 5G network was designed to trigger that smart dust inside of you. And then it was essentially going to control you, absolutely going to control you, cause enormous health issues and ultimately death. Or when you obey, then the signal does not apply to you, and then the pain goes away. So like a lab rat, this is vivisection, like a lab rat, you would be taught on a very basic fundamental level how to obey their rules. That's what was coming, guaranteed 100%. That was the plan. That was exactly it. If all of this is fake, then where are all these 5G towers that they spent conservatively somewhere between $6 and $16 trillion just in the last decade to rush out all over, all across this vast earth? They rushed out this vast 5G network. Why didn't they turn it on? Why isn't it on? If it and some people say, well, it isn't. No, it isn't. They're not turned on anywhere. And you would know if it was turned on because of the things that were happening. You saw in the first days of the COVID-19 outbreak in Wuhan, China, you saw examples of it turned on and what would happen. So you remember those pictures of the different Chinese that were walking down the street, seemingly quite normal, and then boom, they just fell to the ground. That's the 5G network turning on, and then these materials inside of them, the smart dust and the heavy metals inside of them being activated, and people passing out. Right. That's exactly what would have happened to all of us, and we would have ended up just hiding in our homes, begging for mercy, begging for assistance or whatever. So why don't they turn them on? They don't because they can't. And so what we've been teaching is that when you look into the actual teachings of Nikola Tesla, you will see that Tesla was not all about electricity like they try to tell you he was. Tesla was all about magnetism, and so much so that these magnetic eternal scalar waves in the perfect shape of the eternal eight, no beginning, no end. You turn it on, it goes forever. It'll never stop. You never have to repair it. You never have to turn it off because it's getting too hot. It just goes forever. That's what magnetism does with these scalar waves. These scalar waves are also known as Tesla waves, because Nikola Tesla devoted much of his life to understanding this higher concentration of power in magnetism, which he and many others called at least 1 million times more powerful than electricity. So that is our future. You asked about what's our future. That's our future. And President Trump, it's there. He already released it in pages of some of his executive orders that have come already. If you just took the time to read the executive orders, you would see it. It doesn't require me having to have any special contact to know these things. Right. You read the pages of these executive orders, and what Trump has already basically said is that with American monetary policy moving forward, and with funds being made available for people to obtain grants towards or for, it's that they're all the projects that help humanity or mankind, projects that are goodly and godly, are going to get the green light and the go ahead. And Trump has already sent out messages to every country in the world and all of their business leaders, and basically said the same thing, that we feel we have the best array of investment platforms in the United States moving forward, but they're all righteous. And so you will be helping your fellow man while earning guaranteed healthy but guaranteed profits along the way. And this is the kind of world we're going to. We're looking at reasonability, kindness, care, compassion, holistic thinking. And for all of you listening out there with plans and ideas inside your heads that you'd like to create a sanctuary, you've got some land, you'd like to create a sanctuary in particular for children or for families that have been hard hit or disadvantaged, or children that have had to deal with cancer, and you want to, monies are going to be made available, and not just from the American government. This is an earth-wide movement. The people who are going to come back into these governments are people like Modi in India, are people who are 100% on board with all of this and who want to be able to do good. They want to do good, and they haven't been allowed to do good because of their evil controllers. So that's what's coming for us. And so the smallest of you with a plan or an idea, it's valuable, it's important, and you'll be given a platform to express it, and you'll be given access to monies to be able to do this. So if you know, I want some money, please. I want free money because I want to buy a Game Boy. It's going to fall on deaf ears.
Okay.
But if you're talking about helping others, because that's the real wealth of this world, is helping one another, then monies are going to be made available. That's what's coming, folks.
Cool. Sounds exciting. Let's get to questions. Why don't we take just a couple of minutes break? What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna play this video. It's a cover song of "Never Gonna Give You Up." It's like an amazing song. It's about 3.5 minutes. And Charlie, if you want to take a couple of minutes break, I'm gonna mute my audio and video. I'm gonna play this video, and when we come back in about 3.5 minutes, we can take up the questions. Is that okay?
That's perfect.
All right.
We're no strangers to love. You know the rules, and so do I. A full commitment's what I'm thinking of. You wouldn't get this from any other guy. I just wanna tell you how I'm feeling. I've gotta make you understand. Never gonna give you up, never gonna let you down, never gonna run around and desert you, never gonna make you cry, never gonna say goodbye, never gonna tell a lie and hurt you. We've known each other for so long, your heart's been aching but you're too shy to say it. Inside we both know what's been going on. We know the game and we're gonna play it. And if you ask me how I'm feeling, you tell me you're too blind to see. Never gonna give you up, never gonna let you down, never gonna run around and desert you, never gonna make you cry, never gonna say goodbye, never gonna tell a lie and hurt you, never gonna give you up, never gonna let you down, never gonna run around and desert you, never gonna make you cry, never gonna say goodbye, never gonna tell a lie and hurt you. Give you up, give you up. Never gonna give you up. Never gonna give you up. You're too shy to say it. Inside we both know what's been going on. We know the game and we're gonna play it. I just wanna tell you how I'm feeling. I've gotta make you understand. Never gonna give you up, let you down, run around and desert you. Never gonna make you cry, never gonna say goodbye, never gonna tell a lie and hurt you. Oh no, let you down, never gonna run around and desert you, never gonna make you cry, never say goodbye, never gonna tell a lie and hurt you, never gonna give you up, never gonna give you up, never gonna give you up, never gonna give you up.
All right. What do you think, Charlie? And what do people watching, what do you think about that song?
Yeah, it's a great classic track, and it's a brilliant message. And of course, it's another one of these doubly coded songs. So most people will simply see that as a song about a romantic relationship with a woman, but the higher connection, and there are all sorts of very, very obvious clues throughout the song, is that ultimately it's a song expressing this connection to God, and that once you've established the connection to God, it's just something that we would never ever give up. And it's something how I just, on another show just the other day, I reiterated once again that the life that I have with the people that I have in my life, in the direction of my life, nothing could ever entice me away from this path that I'm on, and the things that I have achieved, because they're the highest highs. It's beauty and it's perfection and grace. And so yeah, it's beautiful. There's a higher message to that song.
Amazing. Great stuff. So people are, let me see. So I think the Nicera Jacera stuff, you already have other videos that, there's out there. But I think the key here, before I take the questions, is like people ask about dates. I think that's where, the patience, right? Like, we need to be patient. Do you need to take care of something? You could.
No, it's okay.
Yeah. Like patience, right? Like even all of us get impatient. Like people start asking dates, like when is that happening? Time is an illusion, right? So what do you think about that, the dates?
Yeah, once again, we were drawn up into a little bit ourselves, just because it's so much fun to decode the clues that are there, and especially with regard to JFK Jr. announcing himself with regard to Mount Rushmore. Now, again, that was the original messages foreshadowing that were done in the pages of George magazine. And that was literally 21 years prior to Mount Rushmore. And of course, a lot of things happen over time, and plans have to change. But again, I very much can show, and again, a person, there's no definitive proof either way, but I would powerfully say to you that the picture of that person, before Trump gave his speech at Mount Rushmore, that person who was exalting his arms up to the sky on top of George Washington. Now, there are 4 founding fathers or 4 American presidents that are up on Mount Rushmore there. And the person who did that just happened to be on George Washington. I would suggest to you that is who would have the security clearance to be able to do that. Because no one is allowed to do that, whether there's a president going to speak there or not. They don't allow people to go on to the monument. So, but there's a person who's on there, and I would suggest to you that powerfully, this John F. Kennedy Jr., the founder of George magazine, who was standing on top of George Washington. And then I also believe that at the Mount Rushmore, there were a couple of little speeches just before Trump spoke, and that one of them was actually spoken by John F. Kennedy Jr. as well. So I would say that yes, he was there, and he didn't announce publicly because, of course, the plans are continuing to change. So with NESARA, again, it's not going to be fully revealed, unveiled until after the election, but that's not very long now, and that is coming and coming fast. And I'm also guaranteeing you that there's going to be a Christmas present for everyone that will affect, virtually all people in all lands. That will come up after the election and before the end of the calendar so-called year. Right. So that's happening. That's going to come fast. But again, these dates are subject to change, because when you're fighting World War III, when you've got the lives of everybody on this earth at stake, you have to be careful, and you have to do what's right. And you don't if it means sacrificing a plan that you had all those years ago, then a plan is sacrificed for the greater consideration of all of us. So this is about safety. It's about our children first, and it's about all of our safety. This is World War III, folks. And so you do what you have to do.
And the resonance too, right? We all have to be ready for it. Like, we have to be resonant with that frequency that's coming. And that's another, I know it's
true.
Yeah.
Yes, it's absolutely true.
Right. People are also asking about vaccines. So I heard you talk about it in another video where you said things have been turned around. The Bill Gates negative vaccine has been turned around into a Donald Trump
hydroxychloroquine. Yeah.
Chloroquine vaccine. Mm-hmm. So that's coming up too again. But why don't you talk a little bit about what's the good things because a lot of people just when they hear vaccine they get like afraid. Like, why don't you throw some light on that?
For sure, and rightfully so. And once again, ultimately, we don't need any vaccines whatsoever. All we have to do is just recognize the powers that we were given, and then just exalt those powers. Exalt means to heave up towards heaven. It's reaching up to God. It's doing what we're naturally born to do, which is to reach up to the heavens. Right. This is what it's all about, is taking our destiny and the natural gifts that God gave us. And that's so much about what NESARA is all about. It's just giving back what's rightfully ours. So that's, and again, like Tesla, it's not electricity, it's magnetism. Magnetism is an eternal gift. This is where this eternal energy is coming from. It's from magnetism. You turn it on and it's magnetism. You take two magnets and the polar opposites will attract to each other and then they lock. And if you disappear for 20 million years and then come back to observe those two magnets that connected to each other, they'll still be connected to one another after 20 million years. It doesn't dissipate. So this is a natural gift that's been hidden from us. So it's just being given back to us. It's a God-given gift. And that's all that's happening here. Is just the things that naturally should be happening will occur once again, and rightfully so.
Yeah, it's all about trust too, right? What I'm hearing from you is, and also what I'm hearing from people asking questions is the trust is, I mean, from the audience, probably, or, all of us, like sometimes we lose trust. We're like, oh, is this like just a conspiracy theory? Is it really going to happen? But then again, I think there's two words, right? Patience and trust, that if you really believe in something like, for example, Donald Trump or QAnon movement, if you really believe in it, we just need, we need to have patience and trust, right? It just can't be like, oh, I want it now, but that's just egoistic, right? Yeah.
Very, very much so. And again, you made a point that we never got to earlier. That's a good one to just quickly touch upon for everyone to remember, is that all of this, where we're allowing things to happen, it has multiple meanings. It always does with the Q team and with Donald Trump. It always does. One of the hidden meanings behind why they're allowing this to exist is the longer this goes on, the longer you're out of a conventional workforce, a conventional job, a conventional 9 to 5. There's method to the madness. There's a reason for this, because moving forward, if you want to change your lifestyle, if you want to say, in this time, I realize that being at home every single day, being with my family every day is all I want to do, then you can do that. You can do that. And like I said to you before, if you want to create that and to create a model, you could say even a business model, if you want to create a model around your family staying at home, providing things that benefit all of mankind,
like what we're doing now, right? Like what we're doing now.
Then monies are going to be made available in all sorts of different ways. Just again, creating a model garden, just a small family, creating with your family at home, homeschooling your children, allowing them to learn. Homeschooling, by the way, isn't teaching them the same crap that's being taught in schools. That you're gaining so little, because you're just forcing them to learn the lies. So homeschooling means that you're allowing them to learn from Mother Earth, and it's in the doing that we learn. And so interacting with Mother Earth day to day, bare feet, bare hands, and we're getting our hands and feet dirty by connecting to the Mother. This is where all these sacred wisdoms are going to be downloaded into us from the Mother. And if we then still our minds, then all of these sacred deep teachings and truths will be downloaded to us from the Father. So it's just so beautiful. So you can do virtually anything and receive funding from governments all across the earth, if it's in the name of love, if it's in the name of teaching, if it's in the name of helping others. And so this is what the Bible talks about, all ancient scriptures talk about, that the greatest wealth in the world is caring, compassion, is kindness. It's helping your fellow man. The best bottom line in the world is helping your fellow man and woman. This is what it's all about. So that's why when I did that podcast on meditation, I spent so much time talking to that. If you want to be able to meditate, start living a righteous life. When you start to live from the right brain, when you start to live in decency and pureness, in righteousness, then it's going to be easy to meditate, because the rewards are built into the work you do. So when you do beautiful, caring and compassionate work, then the rewards you're going to get is care and compassion in your life. Wouldn't that be nice? Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I wanted to ask you a very quick question, which has been bothering me for a while. I'm sure people are thinking about that too. Like we're home, what they call lockdown. It's not really lockdown. We're just at home. But the sense of community, human interact. Like you said, there's a lot of opportunities. Like we're connecting right now. We can do business at home. We can connect to families. But when it comes to community, even things like connecting to other QAnon people who support QAnon. So the human interaction, because we have this aura field around us, I think it's, 10 feet, 12 feet, where they say that as soon as you come close to a person, their human something frequency changes. So that's missing. What do you see? I'm sure this lockdown thing is going to go away, but do you see a future where we're just connecting through this technology like we're doing? It almost feels like you're next to me, but that human frequency, the resonance field, there's so many names for it, that's missing. When is that coming back? That's been bothering me.
It all will happen naturally. And again, like I just said, the rewards are built into the work that you do. So when you begin to do higher minded things, this ties into everything that you are. And what you are, whether you realize it or not inside, is you are your energy system. It's Nikola Tesla once again said that if you want to understand the secrets of this world, you need to understand that we are energy. Everything is about energy, frequencies, and then vibration or pulses, vibrations, electrical pulses, magnetic. And so that's our reality. So what our true reality is not so much the physical spine, which has great purpose, gives us our strength, and it shows us the straight and narrow way to be morally upright, strong, upright people, goodly people. The spine teaches that, but really it's the chakra system. The chakra system, the super highway that's within you. And when you get out of that root Muladhara chakra, as soon as you get to the sacral plexus chakra, the solar plexus chakra, the heart chakra, the throat chakra, Ajna, the third eye chakra, Sahasrara, the crown chakra, when you start to get into higher minded thinking, like I said, the rewards are built into the work. So the gifts, the rewards of making decisions and acting from these higher levels of consciousness is that you're gifted that consciousness. So now intuition, our sixth sense, is the sixth chakra. This is intuition. Intuition will be gifted to you. That's what you're describing. The ability to know in every moment, it's not reading people's minds. It's the ability to just know things in every single moment. That's telepathy. Telepathy is the seventh, or the crown chakra. It's where you wear the crown when you're truly enlightened, is when you're tapping into the Akashic records. And again, like I said on previous podcasts, this is what so many people within even the system that is taking back control away from these demons have noticed, and we've had very many people reach out to us, and they're basically always asking the same thing: how do you know what you know when you're not being read into any of this stuff? We don't have leaks, we don't create leaks. Nobody. How do you know what you know? And how do I know what I know? Because I spend my time here and I spend my time here. Intuition and telepathy, and things are downloaded, and that's how you know. And so when do we get to that world? When you start acting that way, when you start living that way, when you start living through the third eye that is caring, loving, compassionate, sees all, and knows that you're connected, that ultimately we are individuals, but that we're all still brothers and sisters, because we all have the same one father and the same one mother, whether you choose to believe that or not. It's the truth. So we're all brothers and sisters.
Right. That's cool. There's a lot of people asking about mass, the mass. I think, again, it comes down to like the patience and the trust that it's just a passing phase. I think Pink Floyd even had a song about it, on the turning away. There's a song where he talked about on the turning away. I think it's just a phase we're going through where we have to learn a lesson, right? So mass is just saying, I mean, I even heard one truther talking about that it could be used as a means to meditate, because that just means we want to just close our senses and meditate. It could have so many different meanings, but people are freaked out. Oh, why are they putting these rules around mass and all that stuff? So do you have anything to say about that?
Right. The single biggest reason why they're forcing the mass thing is because they're pushing you. Somebody is constantly, that's what's happening. Let me put it into a simple metaphor. Somebody is pushing you on your shoulder. They're constantly pushing you, and they're shoving you, and they're saying, what are you going to do about it? What are you going to do about it? What are you going to do about it? And at some point, we need to stand up for ourselves. This is what we're being taught here. Now, if you want to fight back with violence, then remember, the rewards are built into the work. So if you respond with violence, violence begets violence, because the rewards are built into the work that we do. But when we stand up for ourselves, not fearing the consequences, and say, I will not obey, you have no power over me, and then they clamp you in irons and take you away and put you in a prison for, prison cell for 2 weeks. Some people will look at that and they will say, well, you see, Charlie, they do have power over me. No, they
Right.
don't. No, they don't. So that they forcibly moved your physical extremities. That means nothing. Your
Right.
home is where your heart is. Wherever your heart is your home. And so, again, no matter what they attempt to do to us physically, that's nothing. Our physical forms, they with the samsara, they come and they go, they come and they go, they come and they go. What makes you alive is your essence, your soul, which is consciousness. That, and nobody can take that away. So when you go through that experience of standing up to somebody, even if they put you in jail, the first thing that you'll notice in these rooms of silence is that God will come to you. And what you realize is that you're not alone. You're never alone. That you're always, God has been there all along, just waiting for you to recognize the elephant in the room. The ultimate elephant in the room is that God is right here, right next to you. All you have to do is have the eye to see it. The eye to see it. And the relationship of relationships is yours. So it's all there for us, my friends. It is. It truly is. So when they force you to wear a mask, what's happening right now? It's push. What are you going to do about it? What are you going to do about it? What are you going to do about it? I will not bow to you. I do not recognize your authority. And, and by the way, folks, if somebody gives you a fine, just crumple the ticket and throw it away. You're not going to have to pay any fines. Don't
illegal,
worry.
Even before I heard that even it's illegal to do that, right? Yeah. Just because of the mask, or, it's illegal to give you.
Of course it is. All of this is illegal. All of this is, and we get caught up in these lies. So the only thing that is real is law, not legal. Law. Legal is maritime admiralty law jargon.
Right.
Law is God. There are God's laws, okay? And there's the laws of the land and there's the laws of the sea. The laws of the sea is that there is no laws of the sea. It's chaos. It's your left brain. It's the left-hand path. It's the redshift.
Right.
That's the seas. That's where these pirates, the Phoenicians, came from.
Right.
And they took their power on the sea and they brought it to the land. The laws of the land are few, simple and few. And those are the only things that are real. So all of this system of modern law, which is called legality, is all bullshit. It is all complete bullshit. So if you have a record for anything, all of that stuff will go away because it can't exist. It can't exist.
Yeah, I mean, it goes back to the Bhagavad Gita when Arjuna was asking Krishna, should I fight or not? Krishna says, fight. So it's just that we have to, not literally fight, physically fight, but mentally, emotionally be strong. So that's where Bhagavad Gita is like so important, right? A lot of people have been asking about meditation. So I'm gonna just mute my audio for a little bit. I'm gonna let you talk about how to meditate. A lot of people are curious to know, because meditation is again one of those loaded words. There's thousands of meanings around meditation. Actually, they want to know. One of the people, I forget, I think it's Rach Wardle. He or she is asking, what is your personal way to meditate? So I'll give you about 5 minutes. I'm gonna just quickly take a break. I'll let you go ahead.
Okay. So everyone here, this is on my meditation podcast that I did. And remember, for those of you listening, if you have not subscribed to Freak Sense TV, then you're selling yourself short. Freak Sense TV, along, I would say, with Santos Bonacci's Mr. Astrotheology channel, are absolute musts. You must avail yourself of all of the knowledge and the wisdom that is there for you. It's all for free. And it is just overwhelming gnosis of how to achieve this higher mindedness that will then control the body, because it's all about the two worlds. So the body is the left brain and the mind is the right brain. And so while we have great use and value of the body and the left brain, we have to use the body and the left brain through the head, which is symbology of the right brain. So it means that when we use these lower forms of energy, We use them from the wisdom of the right hemisphere of the brain, which is godliness. That's where God exists in his mercy seat, right next to Santa Claus in the colostrum, the sacred sainted colostrum. It's the magic realm. It is the magic mind, and that is the right hemisphere of the brain. So meditation, please listen carefully. What meditation? All it is stillness and silence. That's it. There are literally 10,000, like Lokesh was referring to, there are literally like 10,000 different types and different forms of meditation. There are all sorts of different types of transcendental meditation. Let me tell you something about transcendental meditation. When you do meditation properly, that is transcendental meditation. Transcendental is changing, is in a trance, changing your realities. So you're literally able to make shifts and changes within different aspects of you, different components to you that are beyond the physical realm. So you're like a light worker, a spirit worker. That's what you're essentially doing when you free yourself to be able to get out of the 5 physical senses. Then you're free, and you're free to then focus your intention where you will, and then you can heal any aspect. So you can, when you're meditating, you can, if you're focusing on it, you can heal any of your chakras that you feel are blocked. If any passages of the superhighway are blocked, you can have focused thought, focused intention upon them. Because when you're in a state of meditation, the Mother Mary, the Kundalini, the magnetic energy within us begins to rise. That's when she rises, when there's calm, when there's stillness and silence. And so when you show her the way, when you give her the safety of a calm and still environment, she will come forth. And when the Mother Mary, when the Kundalini white magnetic pureness begins to rise up within us, it's a healing light. It's a healing energy. It's photonic light. It's God's light, and it heals everything about us. That's why the sacred sex that Colleen and I practice, the white tantric, or what we call the unity consciousness sex, is so important, because when you are the mass star of the golden spasm, the orgasm, or is gold, gasm is spasm. So orgasm is golden spasm. When you control it, you never let it go. You don't ever let go of the golden spasm, because when you do, it shoots itself off like a gun violently for 3 seconds, and then it's done. And so are you for a long time. And that always affected me. And it when I was younger, it helped me to make decisions to be less sexually active when I could have been very, very sexually active. And I chose not to be, mostly because when I was sexually active with all of these, beautiful women who really seemed to want access into my life, I didn't feel good about myself. I didn't feel good at all. And I always wanted to, and that's wrong. I knew it was wrong. But after a sexual encounter, I always felt the necessity to leave, and leave fast. And that's wrong. I knew it was wrong. And ultimately I knew it was something about me, not them. And it took a long time to figure out what it was, because that's one of the biggest secrets that they hide from us. I guarantee you that. So it's all about becoming the mass star, not the apprentice. That's why Donald Trump is teaching you constantly. That's why the last show that he was on as the orange-haired entertainer was The Apprentice. And then he becomes president of the world, which is the master. So you see that that's not a mistake. It's not a mistake. All of this is biblical with Donald Trump. He's Cyrus of the book of Isaiah, chapter 45. 45, he's the 45th president. Book of Isaiah, what is it in chapter 45? It talks about Cyrus, the king of Persia and Babylon, the king of Media being the middle territory between the Tigris and the Euphrates. That was, again, Persia and Babylon. And he was the great unifier of goodliness and godliness. And God helped Cyrus remove the evil because he opened doors. He opened doors for Cyrus to enter within. And then when these evil men looked into his eyes, they saw the righteousness of God in his eyes. And they all capitulated to Cyrus because they saw that God was truly within Cyrus. That's having oil in your lamp. That's having the genie in the bottle. Genie is genius. So how to meditate, transcendental meditation, they talk about this, and it's a big, you need to spend $1,000, maybe $10,000. You need to take courses. You need to get a degree in transcendental meditation. No, you don't. Meditation properly is transcendental meditation. Of course it is. You just have to know how to meditate. Meditation is simple. It is stillness and silence. So one of the things that I teach, it worked for me and it worked for you. It's the most ancient form to help you to get into a meditative state. That's why it's been around forever. That's the monadic circle. Okay, you can draw it on a wall wherever you like to meditate, wherever that is. Go across the room and you yourself draw a circle, and in the very center of the circle, make a noticeable, not big, but noticeable sized dot in the exact center. That's called the monadic point of the monadic circle. Mono is one. The whole point of meditation is to connect to the one. So it seems logical that you would use a one circle to help you get there. And all you do is you get rid of any thought by controlling your breathing, by the way. If you control your breathing, if you take these deep, and let me just infuse this as well quickly. I'm going to do a short little podcast on this. They're called Buddha breaths. So why are there so many pictures of the Buddha as a big fat guy? And Buddha must be eating. He loves cows, laughing and chickens Buddha, and pigs. Yeah, the big fat right. Buddha, and he just loves his chicken burgers, or he loves his cow burgers, or something he's doing because he's got a big belly. Right. No, the reason that the Buddha has a big belly is because he always has a belly full of laughs, is that the Buddha always has a belly full of breath, and it's called right. Buddha breathing. And when you're breathing properly, and I haven't begun to teach this yet, I don't want to overwhelm you. So just like I taught you before, the sort of square or circular breathing of deep in through your nostrils,
and hold it, right? Yeah.
And then a long, slow exhale out is creating this, it's going around your 12 cranial nerves. It's creating basically a very healing circuit within your head. It's controlling your brainwaves. It's controlling ultimately then your body. And so when you do that, you're going to be just fine. Now, the deeper form of breathing is when you look kind of funny when you do it. So of course that's not good, because you want to attract chicks, and you can't look funny if you want to attract chicks, and it's all about attracting chicks. Yeah. So yeah. But it's Buddha breathing. And so Buddha breathing is that you're pulling in so much air deep down into your belly that your belly begins to expand. It looks like you've got, kind of a big stomach there. So you do it like this. And when it comes out, then the belly is going back in. When you're inhaling deeply and channeling it downwards to the Buddha belly, your belly is expanding. So if you're doing it right, when you're deep breathing in, the Buddha belly is expanding. When you breathe it out here, after consciously, visually, focusing on drawing it down to the belly, then the belly will begin to depress again. It'll go back in. Now, why do we do this? Why is it so important? Why is it such a big thing that the ancients made sure that they showed Buddha with a big belly? Because that's where all the staleness is within you. You see, this is stagnancy that encourages you to continue to make the same crappy decisions all the time. Is stale air, stagnant. Yeah. See how these words are holistic? I always teach you this. These words are holistic. You need to understand the whole truth of these words because they teach you about life. what did the Golman Das say about the Bhagavad Gita? The Bhagavad Gita is teaching you how to live your life. The Bible is teaching you how to live your life.
Right.
The Quran is teaching you how to live your life. These are
Right.
not, religious books. Go to a church, give $25, sit down and drink some wine and eat a cracker and everything is good. No, you have to do the work. It's hard work. You have to, that's your life. You don't go out and get a job. That distracts you from the real work, which is putting oil in your lamp. So breathing is part of your job. It is sacred, and you need to treat it as a sacred thing. This is what's going to happen and help you to get into meditation. So once again, the monadic point, the monadic circle, you stare at it at a distance while you're doing the Buddha breath, Buddha breathing, and suddenly what's going to happen is that either the outer edge disappears. For me, that's what always happens, is that the outer circle disappears first. And then all I'm staring at is that one, oh my God, I'm almost.
Is that the peripheral vision? It's also called the peripheral vision, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think maybe some of you just noticed that with me there, but just by doing that, I was a moment. I was a moment from going in.
Expansion,
I was so close
right,
to going in again. And that's what happens. And then suddenly the inner dot will disappear and you're inside. So your eyes may still be open, but you're not looking out of those two eyes. You're looking through your inner eye. And then you begin to see it. And you just see the most incredible images. And what I've been doing, Colleen, you can attest to this, what's been happening to me in the last couple of years is that I'm now actually, instead of seeing sort of thematic images or representations of things, I'm now literally seeing perfect, perfect high HD, perfect eye vision inside of me. I'm seeing literal out there vision inside of me. I'm seeing all the color, all of the fineness, all of the detail even with my eyes open. It's easier if you close your eyes. It is. It's easier once you've achieved this, but you may not be able to. Once you achieve it, your eyes may stay open. It's just that you've disconnected of the five physical senses, and now you're looking through this eye, and then you begin to see these shapes. And it just takes you on a journey. It's preparing you for these things. And then the images that you begin to see, where you see this is God speaking to you. This is there's many ways that the Creator contacts you or connects with you, but the predominant way, especially for beginners, is that you begin to see images. And then when you stop trying in the beginning, that's what always with me when I was younger was always, I'm frustrated because I don't understand. What are you trying to say? I don't get it. I don't get it. No. Don't do that. Don't do that at all. Because you're not, with a lot of things, you're not meant to get it right away. Right. The fullness of it will come if you allow it to come to you later, a week from now, or a few hours from now, or a day. And then suddenly you could be doing almost anything. And then it's like, whoop, download, and you go, wow.
I know. You know what? It's funny you mentioned that. That's what happened to me. I saw your video about Michael Jackson a couple of weeks back when you said he's still alive, Dave. And last night I was thinking about it, and I went out for a walk. That's my form of meditation, especially at night when you look at the sky. It's so amazing because that's what people used to do. I think it was Egyptians. I don't know. They used to just go out, look at the sky, and they used to get answers from the sky. Sometimes I just like to do that. And that's when came to me that when you Charlie was talking about Michael Jackson, and I looked it up. I was like, yeah, makes sense. So it's just like you're saying, we get those triggers in our mind, but they may not be activated instantly. They might get activated later on. But just listening through the truth is one, like what we're doing now from you is one of the ways. But there's, nature, there's meditation, yoga. There's so many ways to do it.
Absolutely. Again, stop rushing through life. There's no clock on this thing. Linear time doesn't exist. The only thing that exists is the now. And if you reverse dark to light, if you take the opposite of now, what do you get? One. You've
Yeah.
won when you live in the now. You see what I'm saying about how you got to look at all of these words holistically. When you live in the now, you've won because you have exalted yourself above the distraction of linear time, right?
Right.
That's another one of these gifts of following the Einstein model 100 years ago, folks. You have no idea. Evolution was dragged into this with Einstein as well. All of this baggage, these incredible lies that are designed to take you away from God and make you feel like crap about yourself, that you're worthless. You come and you go, you get one kick around the can and that's it. You see, when they teach you that once you die, that's it, and how any church, like the Catholic Church, any church can, with a straight face, can tell you that is beyond me, because every single scripture, that's all they teach is eternal existence. You exist. You cannot not exist. You exist. You will always exist. If you're part of God's creation, you always exist. That's what existence is. So it's just staggering how much that they lied to us about this. So if you just stay focused in the now, then you've already begun to win the game. You've won, because the illusion of linear time is to tell you you don't have time to meditate. And ultimately it doesn't matter. And when you get to a place later in life where maybe now you do have time, it's too late, because I've only got maybe 10, 15 years more.
And that's
What's the
also
point?
programming, right? Because they have this retirement thing. You have to save money for retirement, and then it's just brainwashed into our minds. And I think it starts when we are born. The vaccines is part of it, but school is a part of it. The money system. I mean, the way I like to look at it is, instead of being victims and just saying, oh, the government is to blame, school is to blame, it's like you said, just take the power back and say, meditate and just see what I can do next. Action. Like, that's what, again, Bhagavad Gita was also all about action. It was not just about thinking, what we can do. And that's what I think, that's where QAnon movement and people like you and Charlie Ward, so many others are doing something about it, even if it's just talking about it. But that's just the first step. But that's something I wanted to ask you, like, people who want to do something about it, not just talk about it. What is the best way to do it? Because I mean, I know one way is to run for governor or president or one of those politicians. I mean, this year is too late. This time is too late. Maybe next time. But is there any other way, like, to be involved in some organization to get active in those communities?
Again, when you're doing things along those ways, I'm not saying that they're entirely wasteful. They're not. But ultimately, what all of the ancient scriptures teach us is to right your ship. That's you're the captain of this star class galaxy cruiser. So it's you, and you have to obtain the captain's eye. Right. And nothing can compete with the captain's eye when it's activated, because that's that oneness with God, and that connects to the pole star, Polaris. And we always, it always points the way when we connect to God. That's what this is all about. It's, you have to do the work on you first. If you're on an airplane and they're telling you that the plane is going to crash and you want to help others, you have to put the oxygen mask on you first. You have to breathe in, get yourself steady and balanced, and then you go and you help others. So that's what it's all about. If President Trump hadn't done the work, if he hadn't brought himself to a place of beautiful spiritual knowingness, then he wouldn't have been the guy. You have to prepare yourself for what is to come. If you want to help others, you have to start by helping yourself. You have to have oil in your lamp, and that then the light will shine brightly. It's what it teaches and talks about in the Bible. Is the greatest gift to God is when you walk down the street and people look into your eyes and they see the light of God within you, and they'll know that the light of God is within you because you've done the work. So that's what this is all about, my friends, is doing this work. So on Freak Sense TV, that's why I was saying to you earlier, so important that you subscribe and avail yourself of all of the videos there. They're all done for a reason. They're all done for a powerful reason. I'm starting to do more and more playlists. So just a couple of days ago, I added 2 new playlists. One which is to become the, I think, balanced and the alkaline men. And I put a series, and they're in the order that they need to be seen. Then I just did one on raising the chrysamal. Then I just did one, and it's kind of similar, but a little different. I did one on raising the Kundalini magnetic energy within you. So I've starting to, and I will continue to do really, really specific, fine playlists on our podcast, on our channel, our Freak Sense TV channel. And then it's all there. It's all there for you. So if you know what can be done, you have to right your ship first, and then you go about helping others. So again, monies are going to be made available for you to help others. That's what it's all about, and will be. But you can't help others until you start to know some truth. And it has to start with truth about yourself. And that's why Charlie Freak is kind of in your face and can be difficult at times, because I don't give you a break. I don't, and I won't let you get away with a little lie here and a little lie there. With Charlie, it's all or nothing, because with God, it's all or nothing. And God deserves our all. He deserves our best, because that's all he does for us, is give his best. And God wants nothing more than to be your best friend. And believe me, you just, I say that, and I hope people really understand that what I'm saying is absolutely true. And so how does that play out then, Charlie? If God is your best friend in the metaphysical, Colleen is my best friend in the physical realm, God is my best friend in the metaphysical realm, how does that play out? One of the ways that it plays, it happens all the time with these downloads, but one of the little gifts that I have is that at the end of the day, when I'm finished feeding all of the animals, I finish with the horses. So I'm walking back towards our home, and I'm coming up the road, and it's all grass. It's just beautiful. And I'm walking always in a westerly direction. So I'm always walking into the sunset, and amazingly, I'm always just kind of finishing right at the end of the day. So I'm just looking at the last glimpses of God before he rises again eternally in the east. And as I do that, the most amazing things are presented to me, and they truly are. It's a combination of the light interacting with the clouds and the shapes that are made, or the brightness, or it's never ending.
The colors, right? Even the colors.
Even the colors.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I just stand there in absolute awe. And what I'll do is I'll just start smiling. Because I know exactly what's being done. It's another way of saying thank you for another day of service to creation, to helping others. And the rewards are built into the work that you do.
Right. So I want to plug in, we're going to slowly start winding up, but I want to plug in your Patreon site, because besides your YouTube, you also have some exclusive content on patreon.com/CharlieFreak, F-R-E-A-K, right? So you have the monthly shows where you do Q&A, and you also post some stuff on Patreon as well.
Well, we would never deny things to everyone. So there's no content on Patreon that is not available for anyone, because that's not the way.
Oh, okay. So the money is not part of the picture. Okay.
No, like if the only reason that we ask for help, if people want to, is just for the Animal Rescue Sanctuary. So, and another thing that we're doing that I think is worthwhile to talk about is that Colleen and I are starting to create what's called a food forest. And so it is just planting tree after tree after tree of predominantly fruits that are designed to feed a lot of people. So that because what we want to do here is for all the people that feel that desire, even if it's just for part of the year, and they want something better in their lives, and they want to be part of something that's beautiful and that is service to helping all others. We're going to offer people to come here you know, to be able to take the time to build whatever they want to build, you know, on the land that's here. And we're going to create this.
Are
this
you talking about like a
community
farm? Sorry, I missed.
like-minded.
Like a farm you're talking about where people can grow
Yeah,
food?
well,
Okay. Okay.
for sure. Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a community. It's a community.
Right.
And what we'll do is we'll help one another.
And people can live there
in
as well,
turn,
like, or
help
they have
everyone else.
to create a
Yes,
home, or
yeah.
they can build their own home
Yeah.
there. Okay. All right.
Yeah. We'll provide the land, and then we'll all help in helping everyone build their home, whatever they want that to look like. So, and because we've been in Mexico for 11 years, we know a lot of the tricks about the weather here and living in Mexico. So, but yeah, so that's what we're interested in doing, is creating this community of goodliness. And I know that there's a ton of people that have reached out to us and said, I want to be there, I want to be there, I want to be there. And we want you to be with us.
Yeah, I think also a lot of people are afraid, so much going on in the United States. I wanted to ask you, you know, like fires and looting and, you know, all this stuff going, I was reading online, people are saying, oh, they want to just get out of here. It's getting worse. So is that, I mean, that's obviously it's a negative way to look at things, you know, but what do you see just in general, like United States, you know, what do you see the future coming up like overall?
It's going to be great. It's going to be great for every single country. The war is already won. What's being allowed to occur is so that people will see and they will then know. Because if this group did everything for us, and then we started to look back and reflect on all that's occurred, people would go, yeah, I think they're lying because I didn't see any of that. So
yeah, because you tend to forget the pain, right? Once you see so much joy,
you want to be,
yeah.
So you'd feel better if you were in a conventional World War III and both of your legs were missing because of a landmine and stuff. Right. Then you would, like, this is World War III, and it has the most damage ever done. It has the most victims ever done. It's just that because we're dealing with rats, they do everything under the ground, and so the fullness of what they've done hasn't come out yet, but it will.
Right. I think that's where technology has been a double-edged sword. Like technology is helping us right now, like connecting. YouTube has been amazing, Twitter has been amazing, but they're also misusing it. They're censoring stuff, they're putting disinformation and misinformation. So I think it comes back to that duality that we started with, like we are living in a dual world, which in some aspects is not really bad, because then the way I look at it is we are looking at both sides of the coin. We are looking at what we call positive and negative, and then it's our choice. But eventually, we're just neutral beings. God is neutral. There, like God doesn't judge us, right? So
no, and He doesn't judge one over another.
Right, exactly.
You either connect to the Father or you don't. You either do the work or you don't. And I can't stress that enough. Like we were talking about earlier, and I don't know if we completed the thought, but remember, one of the biggest things why all of this is being allowed, because one, we have to show the people that are still asleep that this is real. So you protest and rioting in cities with these Antifa rioters and whatnot. It is carefully being observed. It is carefully being watched. And if it were to go too far, then like they've done, they'll step in. But it is so important that these things allow to be played out so people can see in plain sight and awake and go, something is radically wrong here. It is radically wrong. And there was a really small point, but just a good example of all of these things. A lot of these celebrities are, well, anyone who has harmed children, they've all been arrested. Many of them are still allowed to be able to have shows, do their shows. And
Or
of course,
clones, right? Some of them are clones
they're-
too, right? Yeah.
they're all doing their shows from home and stuff because
Right.
because they respect you, and they can, because they've got the COVID, and the COVID never goes away, it seems like, so they're just doing it at home.
Also,
And
they don't want to
oh my
shock
God,
you.
they're-
They don't want to shock
they're
you
under
too much. Yeah.
arrest.
Right.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, but it's important that these demons continue to allow to show and say the evil things that they do, and you can see, and then slowly people are picking up on this stuff. So
Right.
we've told everyone that, again, Tom Hanks isn't with us anymore. Rita, his wife, is, but Tom Hanks isn't. And there was just a video that came out the other day, and that Rita Hanks, she was on the One Show or something. And so here, everything's going great. Now, Rita, are you in Greece? Because, you and Tom you got residency rights in Greece back in 2018, and they're trying to tell you like it's now, but it was actually 2018. And they're trying to say that you're still alive and you're hiding out in Greece. So where were you, Rita? Because it's very interesting that I'm going to put this up on our Facebook page as well. But when they showed the images of her as part of this interview, she's of course at home.
Mm-hmm.
What you're looking at is that in her $1 million home, she's in a very small room. There's only one very narrow window. And if you zoom in closely behind her, you'll see that there's what looks like maybe like a bunk bed or a bed or something. And it appears,
Like a small
to be
window.
like
I saw that. Yeah.
Yeah, and there appears to be like something on the mattress, and you zoom in, it kind of looks like a cockroach. And
Yeah.
and so then what someone did is they took an image of what these new redone cells in Gitmo, because they reopened it,
Yeah.
and they had to increase the amount of space for everybody that's coming. And
Right.
they showed a picture of
Google Maps,
of the
right?
room.
Yeah. Also,
Yeah.
the Google Maps thing, the Justice is called, or what is it called?
Yep, Camp Justice. Yeah,
Yeah.
and all the messages that they were doing, and virtually every day backwards, people are going, "Hey, did I just see something?" And then I went back to look at it, and it was gone again. And yeah, they're giving you clues from Camp Gitmo every single day. So Rita Wilson is in her prison cell at Guantanamo Bay doing a live hookup. Now, why would they do that? Because it's the truth in plain sight, and they want you to be able to see it for yourself. So that's a very powerful reason why. But remember, the other reason why they're doing all of these things is so that the longer you stay at home with your family, your children,
Right.
the longer you stay away from work, they're hoping that a lot of people are going to say, I'm done with this 9 to 5. I'm
Right.
done with sending my kids to school. I want to live. I need to find a way to be able to live a life with my family every single day. I want our kids to be
Yeah.
with us I want us to be a family all the time. This is the way it always used to be. And it won't be forced upon anyone, but that opportunity for you to live an honest life with being a great parent for your kids and living all your day together with your kids, that opportunity is going to be provided to everyone. That's one of the powerful messages they're trying to teach and
Yeah.
display to you during all of this.
Yeah, I think, and that's where teachers and doctors are so important, because they're the ones that have been so brainwashed, because they've been led to believe that it's important for people to be in the hospitals or go to school. And I think a lot of them are coming out and talking about all this stuff now, right?
Yeah, they are.
Yeah.
They are.
Uh,
So yeah. So there's a lot of questions out there. There's a lot of people in Europe that have been very concerned that this influx of other cultures into Europe is going to be allowed to be continuing, blah 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 blah. Look, remember, your heritage and your way of life is yours, and
Right.
and that where we're moving forward is that no one will be able to take that away from you. So whatever you want your future to look like, it will be up to you. So remember, we're not out of the woods yet.
Mhm.
What Donald Trump and Charlie Ward does a good job of explaining this to people. All that Donald Trump is doing is that he's giving every country, with all of the individuals inside of every single country, he's giving every single country a chance to do it right on your own. And it's going to be up to you. You are going to have to see. Now, they're taking away the lies. So the lies are going to go away. And then it's up to you to connect with all the truth that exists all around us. It does. It exists everywhere. It exists in the laugh of an old man who's been around for so many years, the wisdom and the generosity and kindness in the laugh of an old man. It's in the crying of a baby. There's truth and there's wisdom in everything. The water collecting on a leaf droplet. There's wisdom, truth, message, power, strength, care, compassion, love in everything of God's creation, because the mother and the father are omnipresent and they are active all of the time. And the only time that exists is the now. And when you connect to the now by going within, then you've won the game, because the dark to light, the mirror of now is one. So you've won when you live in the now. And living in the now is as simple as controlling your breathing and controlling your diet. And I cannot stress that enough. And that's why Freak Sense TV is such a valuable resource for you to use. It's free. And as I said earlier about our Patreon page, you do not have to help out our animal rescue sanctuary or food forest at all. You still will get full access to all of the information. It should be free to you.
So if people
those that want, if they
exactly,
want to help,
that's right.
If they do want to help, then only an amount that is comfortable for you.
Well, how do they do it? Is that through Patreon or through PayPal, or how do you do it?
Yeah, you can do a one-time on PayPal, and you just go to any one of our videos, any one.
And there's an email there. Okay.
And in the show notes, it'll have for you the PayPal or the Patreon. And the only thing that we're now doing, and it's just simply because we have so many patrons now, is that the only way that we can keep up with any and all of this is by doing shows like this.
Like a community helping each other out, right? Yeah.
That's right. And thank you to you, Lokesh, for graciously offering to help us do that. So that's the only difference, is that there's an extra show every single
Friday
month for the patrons. That's right. Where there's an extra show for just pure question and answer, because like I'm up all night and I still don't have time to get to.
I know.
And Colleen is an angel,
right?
And she's working so much with so little sleep, and she's trying to do the bulk of all of that. So we're doing our best. We're really doing our best. But remember, I just want to make this so important to you. If you wish to help us, that's wonderful. It's beautiful. If only if it's comfortable. If it's not comfortable, then you can help us in so many other ways, by your energy, by your thoughts, by your love, and by teaching and sharing this message. And for anyone listening, if you want to take our videos and put them onto your channel, you can do that as well. They're free. What is important is not my claim to fame or credit for any of these things. It's the message, because this is the message of God. This is the truth. Colleen and I wouldn't share something with you if it was our opinion, because our opinions aren't worth a brass farthing. They're not. We're just like everybody else of the left brain. We get it all wrong if that's where we choose to spend our time. But when we connect to the higher mind, the higher source, and this gnosis comes to us, then it's our obligation and duty to share it. And that's what we're doing. So
Cool. Yeah, Charlie, it's been such an amazing time. I mean, I can literally go on for months, not just hours or days. But to wrap things up, a lot of questions about quantum financial system. Maybe if you can take maybe 5 minutes. I know you talk about Charlie Ward. There's a lot of talk. Money, yeah, they say is the root of all evil. I don't know if it's true or not, but anyway, money is on top of everybody's minds.
It can be, yeah, it can be, folks. Remember, because it's a distraction. If you cling to your money through the now, then you've won. If you stay in the now with your money, then money will never control you. You'll control it, and money should be in the hands of the godly people. And that's what I'm saying. Money will flow to you through the changes that are coming. So this quantum financial system is so large that they really do feel that the way that it needs to be done is basically through a cashless system, which is very much the way that the New World Order wanted to do it as well. It's just because it's grown, the amount of currency that's out there is so massive that it doesn't make sense to do it physically. So, but that's really neither here nor there, because it's all real. It's all backed against actual assets like gold, the golden standard. It's more than gold, but it represents a golden standard. That's right. It could be platinum as well, and copper, and all sorts of these landed valuables that are there. So what it means is that moving forward, you're not going, interest can't exist. So the days of usury are over. So if you have debt, then your debt's going to go away. Okay. And then you're not going to be able to get yourself into debt again. That's not how any of this is going to work. There's going to be grants, and grants are going to be earned by people by doing the work. And the work is helping others. And that is goodly and godly. So the whole system moving forward is going to be based in and around goodly and godliness, helping one another. And so you'll be able to work with your kids at your side forever if you want to be part of a goodly, godly system. So the taxes are all going away, okay? And the only tax that will exist is a point of sale tax, and it's a choice. If you don't want to pay it, you don't have to, because it won't be for essential goods. You cannot put it on essential things. So there will be a list of things that are essential, and there'll be no tax on them. So it's only just for the sort of wants that you really feel like you really want, but you don't really need. And that'll be the way that
like
governments
a 55-inch
generate.
TV, like a 60-inch TV or something.
That's exactly right. Yeah. Well, and of course, what we hopefully will get back to is getting our kids outside at nighttime, because remember, the light that you're seeing from the stars in the sky and the moon at night is God light. That is photon light. That is light that exists from God. So it heals you, it empowers you, it fills you up with wisdom and knowledge. So,
it feels so peaceful. That's what I was talking about earlier. I started going out at night, like midnight, 1 o'clock, 2 anytime when it's dark and it's silent, because you don't have the noise, and you look at the sky and the stars, and it's just an instant connection. You don't have to do anything. So
that's right. That's right. Yeah. And for by the way, if you're going to start spending some time outside at nighttime, folks, quick experiment to show you that something's not right with what they're teaching you about the sun and the moon is that if there's a full moon, stand for about 10 minutes in the fullness of the moon, and just observe what it feels like. And then for about 10 or 15 minutes, go stand in the shade so that the moon is not shining on you.
Or close the eyes, right? Or you can close the eyes as well.
Sure. Well, but you would just, a physical experiment.
Oh, physical away from it.
Have to be away from it.
Right,
what you'll notice is that with or without a thermometer to check yourself, is that you'll notice that there is up to a 7 to 8 degree swing in temperature. It's cooler in moonlight, and it is warmer away from the moon, which makes perfect sense, because it's warmer in the sunlight and it is cooler in the shade. So the moon, which is the opposite of the sun, to balance one another, works exactly opposite of how the sun works. That's God's creation. That's God's way. And so the moon has its own light, and it is a cooling, decaying light. The sun is the life giver. It gives life. But you see, if we only had the sun, the earth would be choked with carbon dioxide after 5 or 6 years if we didn't have decay. We have to have decay so that there is a balance on the green plane. So the moon has a powerful role, this death and decay, to balance all of the new life and new life so that it remains in perfect balance, which is the goal of everything. So what they're telling you about outer space and the sun and the moon and the distances, they're lying to you. I guarantee it. I guarantee it. They're lying to you.
Yeah, and it's coming. I mean, we're going to come to know ourselves, because again, like you said, we have to know. We don't have to give our power away, saying that, or the what's his name, Elon Musk is going to show it to us, or Trump is going to show it. We can see it. Yeah.
Right. Well, it's interesting that Elon Musk is now working with Donald Trump, and he's building these Tesla plants, Tesla factories
in Texas, right? Yeah.
What are you building? What are you
It's
building?
like a code word, right? Tesla is another Tesla, right? Yeah.
That's right. And what are you building? And by the way, why did all of Elon Musk's space program, SpaceX, why did it all look so fake? Because it was meant to look so fake. Rockets that can go up and then can safely come back down on a spinning, twisting, twirling, tilting
Axis,
body.
Yeah, I know.
You know, with winds and gravity and all of these other external forces, and yet it lands perfectly down, you know, far away from people. You know, you have to watch their camera. You know, you can't be there because it is very dangerous and has to be. You can't be there. You can't see it. Yeah.
So like Charlie, I know, sorry to interrupt you there, but I was going to say, we should have another session, like, you know, even the audience members are talking about sun, moon, astrology, geometria, space, aliens, all that stuff. I think we should, we can talk about it later, but there's more esoteric stuff we haven't talked about. I know you've talked to Santos, what's his name, Benocchi?
Santos Bonacci,
Bonacci talks about geometria stuff. It's amazing stuff that and also the med beds. People are asking about med beds, which is also all connected to Tesla and stuff. So maybe, let's take it whenever you're available, whenever you open to it, let's get together again, not for the Patreon side, but just out, for everyone. But it's been an amazing journey. Like 3 hours, it seems like 3 seconds. It's just like, I just logged in because I just like so resonate with what you're saying, and I'm sure people are doing that as well. But do you have any final words before we wrap things up? Yeah.
Yes. Again, everyone, please listen carefully. Life is so simple. That's how God made it for us. And God is very, very real. The Mother and the Father are very real. And we have to do work in this life to complete the Holy Trinity. It's all about the Holy Trinity. It is. And you're going to see this in the books that I'm writing. It's all about the Holy Trinity. It's all the alphabet from A to Z is the journey of the child. It's all about Jesus Christ to become Christ Jesus. It's all about Krishna coming home. It's all about Buddha finding the middle path, the middle way. It's all of these beautiful figures who came before us and who exalted themselves to heaven and then came back to share this gnosis on the middle plane, the middle path. The middle path is ultimately the way, because that is caring and compassion. By the way, there's no accident why it is the heart chakra. Right? So everybody wants to exalt the heart. That's why, because the heart is coming back and giving back. So God has given us an ability to heal ourselves and to tap into the Akashic records and know all things. And then it's our job to come back and to teach it and share it the best that we can. And remember, you may be far, far, far from achieving that right now, but it all starts in a single moment when you say, I'm going to control my breathing and I'm going to control my food. Metaphysical, physical. Take control of your two worlds, and eventually they will become one in perfect balance and harmony. And your breathing and the food that you intake are the biggest keys, because they start this whole journey of the straight path that is straight and narrow. And once again, what is this deep focused breath, the Buddha breath? I'm going to do a podcast on this coming up shortly about that again. And then with our diet, this is just observing what we are. We are frugivores, and that means that you eat raw foods. You don't cook your foods. In fact, remember what I was saying before in other videos, there's no other creature being that cooks their food.
And
we're the only ones that do it.
Steaming is better than just fire, right? Yeah.
Yes, and the thing is about steaming, there are certain foods, there's certain like rice and a lot of things like
grains,
beans, grains. You cannot eat them. You cannot eat them in their natural state. So when you do apply any, steaming is a very good process. And of course, if you're going to cook certain foods, low temperature, with water, and no oil unless you're able
so you
to find...
just have to be gentle with the food, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Keep the life in it. Don't burn the life out of it. Don't scorch the heart out of it. So, but ideally, all you have to do is eat raw fruit. People go, no, you have to have vitamin B12. Vitamin B12 is the decay from the moon. You get that if you rub your hand on tree bark and then put your finger to your mouth. That's vitamin B12. Okay. If there's a rusty pole in your yard and there's some rust on it and decay on it, you put your hand on that, put it to your mouth. That's vitamin B12. They're by calling it a vitamin, they're controlling you and then owning you.
Yeah. Same thing with the proteins, right?
They, like
the protein brainwashing, I think, has been the worst for meat eaters, right? They just keep saying you need protein from meat and all that stuff, right?
Your body produces all the protein you will ever need. All you have to do is take care of your body. You take care of your body produces copious amounts of protein. You don't need protein from any other source. Of course, when you eat fruits and vegetables, there's lots of protein in it. You never have to worry about, nobody in the world dies from an absence of protein. Nobody. That's how they control you to eat meat, and nobody dies from it.
Just like coronavirus, nobody dies from it. I just wanted to bring it in there. Like nobody, I think, but I don't want to get into another rabbit hole. But Charlie, it's been such an amazing time, and I hope you enjoyed it. And namaste. And hopefully we'll get to do this again. A lot of people love the show. They've been saying thank you. And I'll see you soon, if not physically in Mexico. I mean, I want to, when things open up, probably we can do a retreat or something, we love to see you.
But it'd be wonderful.
Yeah, say hi to Colleen and all your 45 brothers and sisters there. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it, Charlie.
You're welcome. And again, to all of our listeners, we love you guys too. And stay strong. And just remember, simple, simple, simple. Keep life simple and follow the path that is straight and narrow, because the rewards are built into the work that you do.
Yeah, it's coming. Trump Q, it's coming. Trump Sara, I think, what's her name? What's that lady in Hawaii? She calls it Trump Sara.
That's Santa Surfing, and she's really connected to them. I'm not. They have noticed my work and they have applauded the work that I do, but I'm not connected to that program. Like I said, they like what I do. That's it. They like what Charlie Ward does as well. But Santa Surfing, she is connected to the movement.
Right.
Jennifer
I think
Mack,
it's yeah, I think it's about connecting the dots. We all have the piece of the puzzle. She has some, you have Charlie Ward, Laura Eisenhower, so many people. We just have to keep an
a lot of
open
great
mind.
people.
Like, yeah, we have, I think right now, I think what I feel, you just have to be open-minded. Anything can happen, just like this 2020 has shown us. Anything is possible, right? There you go.
Yeah, and there is a major event that's coming on December 22nd.
Yeah.
That is natural. It's a gift from God. It's within nature. It relates to the night sky, and I'll obviously be doing a big podcast on it. But amazing things from everyone, from the Creator especially, are coming for us. So we're really going to change. There's going to be a massive change towards goodliness.
Cool. Yeah, looking forward to it. I heard good things about December 21st too. And also, just I want to thank you and let us know how we can support you. Same way, Trump, people ask, how we can support Trump. But I think by supporting people like you, and we are supporting Trump because it's just a cause. It's not like a revolution we're making. We're just supporting each other to get to where we want to. And just let us know, we're a community, and so appreciate it. Was gonna say, for December 21st, if you need any help setting up the meditation, YouTube, anything, just let me know as well. And thank you so much, Charlie.
Thank you. Namaste to everyone. And remember, namaste means that I see the essence of you. And that's where we need to all get to, is to see that inner self in everyone. So
great. Namaste, everyone. Thanks for joining. We'll do this again. I'm sure Charlie loved it as I did. We're gonna come back. I see, like after 2 or 3 weeks, whenever Charlie has time, we're gonna come back. With the more esoteric stuff. People sending hearts and love. Charlie and Colleen, so much love to you. And all right, guys, thank you. And have a nice day there, Charlie. Or evening, it's evening there. So have a nice evening.
see you.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.